Mm. Okay, looks like Zoom has changed settings now, and I can't edit. Is the chat disabled by default? This is weird. Hey, hi, Naman.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Just want to make sure that the chat is visible. Do you see the option of changing the settings for the chat now?
Let me see, sir. No, sir.
This is weird. Anyone watching the stream, do you? Okay, now I can see the settings. Okay. Balanced. Okay, so chat is enabled now. They have just moved that tab somewhere else now. So great. So everyone, welcome to the session. This is the session on Codex. Not a big fan of Codex. I'm a fan of Claude and the anti-gravity. Uh, Now, since I'm not the fan, we have a fan here of Codex, and that's why Naman is going to take this session on Codex. Now, the thing is, the way we are changing the way, I mean, basically the entire shift is happening where initially you were writing the code, but now we have this coding assistance which will help you to write the code. Now, as a developer, our job changes from writing the code to designing the system. So understanding the problem statement, creating specs files for it, and once you have the specs, you can build the application. Now that's a proper approach. The other approach which we follow is vibe coding, where you just got an idea and then you say, okay, let me just build the entire stuff with the idea. So vibe coding works for the first iteration, but the moment you want some changes, you will struggle. And that's why you have to learn how do we use this coding assistance properly so that you can build huge application. And to do that, we got Naman. Naman is one of the instructor in Telesco. And if you're seeing Naman for the first time, I would like Naman to introduce himself and get started with the session. Over to you, Naman.
Okay, sir. So thank you for the opportunity. So hi everyone. You might have seen me on Telesco Hindi channel, or maybe in the live classes, or might be on the Udemy too in my recent course. So today basically we are going to start with the Codex, and it's going to be very fun because we are not going to only do the vibe coding, but also we'll explore how we can build application by just integrating the databases deployed on the production, and how we actually works with the AI. Because you already know that it's a agentic AI era, so we need to know it's not only about generative, but how we can actually works with the agents. So just give me a little introduction about myself too, that I have joined Telesco around 2 years back. I joined as a developer, then I got a passion about teaching and educating people. As you all know that in Telesco, we don't teach, we educate. So I follow the same passion here. And with that, today we are here. So we can start now?
Yeah, go on. You anyway, you have less time, so
Yeah.
let's continue.
Okay. Please confirm me once whether my screen and audio is visible or not. Okay, perfect. So First of all, I want you to from guys know that how many of you know about agents? What actually agents are and what the main purpose of them? Okay. So let's discuss here. First, let me give you the overview that what are the things we are going to discuss about in today's session. Here, we'll start with the introduction first, and then we will see about the pricing and usage limit. That's the most important part. Then we'll explore most about the things like how we can use Codex in different platforms in the interfaces. Then about the safety and security and a lot more. We'll discuss about all those things, and you actually get to know how you can use Codex in your day-to-day life. So let's keep this curriculum aside somewhere here, and let's see with the very first topic, which is what are agents. Now, if I want to tell you about the agents with just one line, that what it actually mean, then I would say that they are just the virtual humans. They are just only the virtual humans who have only brain, kind of hands and legs, as well as a memory also. That's it. That's all about the agents. And why I compare it with the humans? Because let's say if I take an example of you, suppose if I assign you some task, and let's say if I say you that create a presentation on Independence Day, what will you do? Will you directly jump to the presentation application and give it a heading or images or rest of the information? Of course not. This is not we actually do. What we do, we first move to the very first step, which is thinking and planning. We gather all the relevant informations that are required to actually take action for that presentation, right? And when we gather all the relevant information, like suppose you want to know that when Independence Day was celebrated and what's the rule of there and what are the images I used, and you do if you do not have much idea about it, you may take help of someone else or maybe the internet help. You can take all these things. These are the relevant planning and thinking you do. And when you do all those things, you move to the next step, which is not taking an action. Now you can open the presentation app, you can give it a heading, you can just paste the images or design whatever you have designed there. And after this, you will store it in your memory also. Why? Because maybe in future, if I assign or someone else assign the same task to you or similar to the same task, you will not start everything from scratch. Like you will again start planning and all. That's not going to be again there. Instead, you will recall it from your memory. You will fetch the data from your memory and make sure, okay, this is already available in my data. Why should I start everything from the scratch? Let's start from here itself. So this is how the agents also work. Agents also work in these three principles. First, which is taking planning based on the task you have given. And once it gather all the informations, they move to the second step, which is taking an action. And then they will also have a memory, short-term memory and the long-term memory based on the how prior your task is. So if I want to write here, I'll first say in the terms of AI, in the terms of technology, that reasoning and planning basically means planning and thinking basically means reasoning. We usually call it as reasoning, which basically means planning, thinking. Perfect. And then the next step is taking an action, which basically we call it as act. Now, how will it take action? Because as a human, we can take it from the hands and legs and maybe some other tools. But in terms of AI, they basically use tools. There are some tools available which gives them the capability to take an action. Maybe you want to access any file in your code base, or maybe you want to access any application and do some stuff there. So to take all those action, they need help of tools which provide by the AI itself. So it will take action with the help of tools. And at last, they have a memory also, which we can call it as access memory, like this. Okay. And you might have seen one word also with these three principles, that this reasoning as well as this act together called as react, which basically means reasoning and then taking an action. So wherever if you heard about that this AI has the capability of react, that basically means that that's not a normal AI, it's an agent, or we can call it it's an agentic AI. Is this clear? What are agents? What's the main purpose of the agent? Okay. So under the hood, whatever the agents available, maybe it will be the Claude Code, Copilot, Cursor, or maybe the this Codex itself, all works under the same mode: reasoning, act, and then taking action. Now, once we understand about the agents, MD file an agent. Whenever I ask Copilot to create an agent for some work, it creates .md. No, that's not a agent file. It's actually a markdown file only, which we have the README file also. We'll discuss about this later. Just now, let's move to the another topic. Now, once we understand about the agents, the another thing is that let's discuss about the Codex also. Codex is one of the AI agent. Now, why we choose Codex apart from other agents? Are they aren't good, or they are not capable about this code work or not? Although Claude Code is much better in terms of cursor, in terms of Codex, but we prefer Codex here because every AI agents has their own skills and capabilities. For example, if I again go back to the example of let's say humans, suppose I have a two-person in front of me. One is playing sport, let's say cricket. Another one is playing, let's say, football. And let's say we have two-person, which is Virat Kohli and Ronaldo. Okay. And let's say I'm assigning the task to them that you both have a task to hit a boundary. And let's say it's a six. I wish I could say them in the reality also, but okay. Let's say I give them the task. Now, what do you think who will perform that task better? No doubt, it will be the Virat Kohli because he has the skills in cricket. He is the expertise in that sport, right? Same like that, when we are choosing the agents, we choose based on the skills they have. If we talk about the Codex itself, the OpenAI basically designed and trained it based on the software engineering field. They trained it based on the multiple code available on the open source like GitHub and all, and make sure that it matches the human expectation, what they actually expect the output from the Codex itself. That's why people loving it when they are doing the Codex, using the Codex, maybe for debugging purpose, maybe for implementing the feature. All those works, Codex actually works there. Yes, we'll move to that part. What's the difference between agentic AI and the generative AI? So now basically OpenAI uses the GPT-5 model and the above model for the Codex work. So if you want to use, we can go with the 5 model and all. So this is the basic information about the Codex, what actually it is and why we need to use it in terms of software engineering field. Although it has the capabilities to do the non-technical work also. Let's say you want to fetch the data from the email address, you want to draft a message to the particular person, that also agent can do because at the end it's an agent and its role is to do the task whatever you will define it. But it will perform better when you actually define the task related to the coding and all. So after understanding the Codex and what are agents, let's see about the pricing also because that's a very important part. If you do not understand about the pricing, then later, if any of the middle session your Codex stop working, you will get surprised. Maybe your bills are going to be fed up with the amount because it will going to be consume lot of credit. So you need to actually know how the things actually work, how usage limit actually works there. Okay, but let me clear this doubt. Someone has asked about the AI agent, agentic AI, and generative AI. So as I told you before that if any AI agent or if any AI has the capability of react, which basically means reasoning and act, they basically comes under the agents because they are not only giving the code for you, not just the output, you just copy and paste it wherever you want to use. Instead, it will also take an action on the behalf of you and also parallelly with you. And if we talk about the generative agent, then they are just the agent we just who only out give you the output. For example, you just say that find the bugs in this particular code. So what will they do? They will not create the file for you or maybe look at the code in your code base and all. They just give you the output in the code, which you have to manually look at it. You have to copy it and then paste on your code base. That's the generative work, not the agentic work. So that's the basic difference between generative agent and the agentic agent. Now let's look at the pricing and all also. So for that, I'll open one of the tab. Just a minute. something here. Okay. So let's type here Codex pricing, and let's open this website. And here we can see the pricing. Yes, we are able to see. So see, this is how the Codex actually work. You can start with the free plan itself. You don't have to pay anything, but there are the limitation with the free plan. And I would always suggest that you should at least have a $5 credit in your account if you want to use how Codex actually work and what are the capabilities of it. So in the $0 plan, you can of course try the Codex capabilities. You can able to access the GPT flagship models like GPT 5.6, but it has a limited message and upload capabilities, limited slower image and generation. So you can go with a Go plan or Plus plan or 100 plans for the most capabilities of the Codex. Apart from this, if you don't want to pay at this specific amount every month, or maybe it should not remind you for pay this amount every month, what you can do, you can go with the API based method also, where you just add the credits in your account. Let's say five credit only, $5 only. So next time when you start using Codex, it will only consume the dollar based on how much token you have used. Basically, in short, we can say pay as you go. As much you use, that much only dollar will get consumed by your Codex. So this is about the pricing, right? You can explore the plans, and based on your requirement, you can go any one of them. Now, if we talk about the usage limit, then basically Codex work with the two type of usage limit. First one is 5-hour rolling window limit, and the second one is weekly limit. Now, what does the 5-hour rolling window actually mean? Now, in other AI agents, if you have explored, maybe you have used the normal Claude or the ChatGPT, what they actually do, when you start using it, at some point they say to you that Codex limit has reached, or maybe Claude limit has reached, and you have to wait for the 5 hours, 6 hours, or maybe the limit will get reset next day, like this, right? But in Codex, they do not make you to wait to get the windows or to get the Codex limit back. Instead, they follow the 5-hour rolling window limit as well as the weekly limit. Let's make it clear with the example. Suppose, let's go here. Let's say current in your account, you have total of 100% of tokens. Okay, because right now you have not used any tokens, so it's totally 100%. Now, let's say you start using Codex at 9 a.m. I'm assuming that you are start using in the morning at 9 a.m. So I'll say at 9 a.m. you start using Codex and you have consumed 30% of it. Okay. So now if you have consumed the 30% token, then how much it left? 70% out of 100. Perfect. Now, let's say at 10:30 a.m. you again start using Codex and now you have used, let's say, 40%. So total you have consumed 70% token and only 30% is left now. Now what will happen? Let's say you again start using Codex and this time you start using it at let's say 2 p.m. Okay, 2 p.m. So here, what do you think? How much token will you get back? Will it still left 30% out of 100% because you have consumed the 70% till 10:30 a.m.? No. Instead, what it will do, you have used the 70%, but at 2 p.m., you will get back the 30% token which you have consumed at 9 a.m. That it was actually mean 5-hour rolling window limit, which means if you have consumed any tokens, then exactly 5 hours from that time period, you will get back those tokens. So if you look at here, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., how much time has passed? 5 hours, right? So if 5 hours has been passed, so 30% token which you have used at 9 a.m., you will get back those tokens. So now you will not only have 30% token left, but you will left 80%. Why 80%? Because 30% from the previous window and 50, not okay. We will left 60%, right? 30% from the previous window and 30% you will get back from your 9 a.m. token that will get rolls off. So you will get now total 60% out of 100. So this is how the 5-hour rolling window limit actually works. Now, as I told you before, not only based on 5 hour rolling window limit, but also based on the weekly limit. So if weekly limit, let's say 100% is there, and when you consume these tokens, this 30%, 40%, it will also get deducted in your weekly limit. It is not like that once you get completed with the 5 hour rolling window limit, then only this weekly limit will get start reducing. It will work simultaneously, right? So if this weekly limit get exhausted before the week arrives, or before the it should get reset, you have to wait. You can't use the 5 hour rolling window also, because they both work simultaneously, this 5 hour rolling window as well as weekly limit. So you need to make sure that you have enough token in your 5 hour rolling window and also in your weekly limit if you actually want to work with the codex. If your weekly limit get exhausted before the week should get limit should get reset, you will have to wait even though you have a credits in your 5 hour rolling window. Both needs to be their token, right? So first tell me whether you understand about the pricing and the usage limit, how codex actually works. Just confirm me once. Okay. So you need to keep in mind, you need to, although we will also see in the code that how we can monitor, like how much token we have consumed and how much weekly limit is left. That we'll also see in the later when we start exploring codex in the different ways. Okay. Now one have asked that what are the API tokens? API tokens are not. API token actually means you basically create a API key in your OpenAI account, which only have consumed your token based on you have used it. Let me show you here. Suppose if I open OpenAI API, this one, and this is the API platform. This one, okay, here we are not getting it. Maybe this one. Yes. Your authentication token has been valid. Please try sign in to again. Return to home page. Okay, let me sign in. Password needs to be entered. I'll keep this window apart here for some time. Let me enter the password first, and then I'll come back here. Just a minute, I need to do a login. Or maybe I can use the second win profile also, maybe here. And if I open OpenAI key platform, this one. Okay, here I'm able to see it. So just tell me whether you are able to see this platform, OpenAI platform. Okay, not visible. Okay, just a minute. Let me see which window I'm sharing right now. Mm, is it visible now? Okay. Okay, perfect. So once you go to this website, which is a platform.openai.com, here you will able to see the API keys. This is what I'm talking about. I have already 2 API keys I have created for one of my project just to see how things actually work. So I have this 2 API key. You will create one your, no matter how many you want to create, you can create it. And for this, you don't have to have a credits in your account. As I can show you, maybe my usage or bills. Where's the billing option? Personal bills. Usage. Okay. Yeah, in usage, you can see that I have $0. That means totally free account. So you can create the API key in your this website, platform.openai.com. Just click on this create new secret key, define the name of your key, and then it will then make sure to create on this create secret key. And once you click, it will generate the API key. Now okay, let me show you and not just explain. Let's say if I write here demo, default project, I'll set the permission, whether restricted, read only or all, let it be all. And when I say click secret key, it will generate one for me. Now you need to copy this secret key as soon as possible from here itself before closing this model, because once you close this model, you are not able to access it again. So you can copy it and paste it somewhere in your system so that you can later fetch it. So I'll copy it and paste it somewhere, and then you can just click on the done. So you have seen this. This is your demo. You will not able to access this secret key again. It's one time only visible. So copy it on your system and then you can use it. So now if you start using this OpenAI API key, it will consume the token and it will also decide how much you have used it. For the local purpose, it works, but when you are using it in the agents, it will cost the money for you. Continue cost saving. Without tokens, can we use only API token? No, API tokens actually comes under tokens only in Codex. As I show you before that if you used API key, then it will also consume the token for you, right? It's not like that you can bypass the billing address and billing issues and all. You have to make sure that if you are using the API key, it will generate the bill for you based on how much you have consumed it in the Codex. In just the normal chatting and all, you are able to use it, that will not consume, but for agents, it will charge the money for you. So in this way you can create. Let me go back to this account and make sure I'm sharing the correct screen. Okay, this one, sure. Okay. So once we understand this about the pricing limit and the usage limit, let's look at the another thing, which is how we can access the codex. What are the different ways and the platform available through which you can access the codex? So if you just open the codex documentation, codex, okay, just like this, codex by ChatGPT. Here, if we scroll down, here, you can see these are the ways you can use a codex. You can use it directly in the browser itself, or you can use it inside your IDE as an extension, or you can use it in your terminal itself only, in your local machine, right? So we'll see all those ways one by one. First, we'll see how we can use directly app. They have the Codex app also where you can use the entire Codex by downloading their app. So I want to show you thing, just a minute. If I want to download the app, I'll just open the window and I'll say here, Codex download. You can see as I soon, it says me Codex desktop app. Just click it. Yes, free API key can be used for generating the AI response, but not able to take an action for you. For taking an action, you have at least credits or the bills there, right? For the generative task, where just generate the output for you, you can use it for the project work. So you can see here, this is a website. Yeah, Gen AI is possible, right? But agent work is not possible. See, we have a download for macOS option available. It will available based on your operating system. For me, it's showing, it has automatically detected, and based on that, it is showing on my desktop. So I can click on this and it will install this application on my desktop. And if possible, if you have credits in your account, then I would suggest you to follow the things along with me so that if you get stuck somewhere in between, you can ask me immediately right now and you can make most out of this session, right? Can I use the anthropic model in Codex? Yeah, of course you can use that. In Codex, you have an option where you can you cannot use the anthropic model. You can actually, what I can say, you can actually import all your works that you have done in your Claude code. If you have used the Claude Code agent, you are able to import all the works, that project and chat you have done there. You are able to import all those things in your Codex itself. But in Codex model, but in Codex itself, you are not able to use the anthropic model. For anthropic, you might use the Claude Code or the Claude. Yeah, you can use the VS Code plus Claude because you are actually using the Claude extension there, right? So install this application, and once you install, let's open this. This is how it will look like. Okay, this one, ChatGPT. Although it will has the name ChatGPT instead of the Codex, because Codex is the part of ChatGPT only. So once you open this is how the interface looks like. Now, when you open it for the first time, this is not what comes to on your screen. It will ask actually for the login first, right? I have already done it. That's why it opened me this window. But when you do it, it will ask you for the login. So you log in, but with the what account? You should log in with the same account, the ChatGPT account, right? Which you have used in your browser or all. You have to log in with the same ChatGPT account so that you can access the task that you are doing here as well as in the browser itself. Now, if you look at the basic features of this Codex app, so the first thing we have the new chat. New chat, as the name itself says, you can assign the task to it and it will take action for you. So I just want to show you a small demo, very small demo. Just click on here. I'll just say create a complete snake game using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I just want to show you how Codex actually start taking an action for your work. And you can see we have this 5.6 model running right now. We can see here 5.6 and solve with the basic call it as. And effort is actually light, which is the reasoning effort, that how much time it actually takes for executing the task that we have discussed, the planning and the thinking work that we can decide here. And the speed also standard or the fast. I'm able to access this model, which is a 5.6, because I am in the plus plan right now. I just want to give the disclaimer that first. If I just open the profile, let's say if I go to the settings, maybe I can show you somewhere that profile. Yeah, in profile you can see here. I am in the plus plan right now, means a $20 plan. That's why I'm able to access the latest model and able to use it the Codex app. You have to mention database first time login. Database first time login. Sorry, mention database. When it asks for the login, you have an option there that how you actually want to log in, maybe with the API key or something like that. Any trial to use? As I told you before, that you can explore the Codex, just the free plan in the browser or in the Codex app itself, but only for the limited time only, right? You can use it for the free also, but all the features are not available. Maybe you are not able to see this latest model. Maybe I'm not sure in the free plan, and maybe you are not able to access the latest feature of the Codex app. Okay, so let's go with this now. Create a complete snake game using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And I'll just say click enter. Now let's see how Codex start actually taking action for us. You can see what it actually do first. It says I'll build this as a self-contained browser, and it is now in the thinking phase. That is what we discuss. So any agent, no matter maybe a Cloud Core or the Codex, whatever the agent, they first do the thinking based on the task you have given to it. And when the thinking will done, it will take an actions and then produce the output for you. So let's wait for the AI response. In between, if you have any question, you can ask right now. We have a small conversation. It will take some time, at least maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes, not more than that, because we have not given such a complex task to it. Okay, meanwhile it is running, we can also do one more thing. As Codex is running in the parallel task, so if this task is running, I can assign a new task also. So if I click on new chat, and let's say if I just say here, create a calculator. Just I want to show that we can run the parallel task also. And when I say enter, you can see these both tasks are running parallelly. This one in the new chat and this one in the different chat. So you can delegate both the tasks, but let me stop this one for now. Let only work with one. So I'll click on archive and let's wait for this one. Okay, so what are the questions? How do you decide when an AI solution is actually better than a traditional software solution? You can decide based on the knowledge and the expertise you have. Agents are able to do the task, but at the end, humans should be in the loop, right? Humans should decide at the end. There should be a human who should review that whether how the things actually work there. You cannot just directly keep everything on the vibe mode where you just assign the task and say deploy it on the production, see the things, whatever the code you have generated, I have full trust on you. It's not like that. At then it's you on the setting at the end who check everything, whether it is correct or not, whether it matches my alignment or expectation, and then only you will merge it to the main or maybe wherever you want to use it. But in Codex, we are unable to do undo. Uh, what do you mean by undo? In which term are you saying undo? Should we make Codex access inside sandbox only? Yes. We have to use Codex inside the sandbox only, and that's a by default property of the Codex. We'll come to this part, how Codex actually manages the thing. Okay, let's discuss about the sandbox also. If you see here, what it asks for me, allow ChatGPT to connect to the internet. And if I deny it, it will not take access to the internet. And if I allow once, it will able to do this. How is this possible? Because everything is running inside a sandbox. Basically, a sandbox, I don't know how many of you use the sandbox maybe online. Maybe if you are using it somewhere platform and it says to you that open it on the sandbox button, something like that. And if you have used it, it has opened an ID like template for you, right? Where it will say show you that you can use the entire code and all in the sandbox itself. You can run the test cases, you can run the npm command and all. It just does ID in the cloud mode, right? Same like that. Codex follows a sandbox environment where it makes sure that everything runs inside that particular environment. And if you want to access outside of that environment, it first needs to take an approval from you. And it's important because you are using Codex in your local machine, so you have some concern about it. What if I run some command through which it can take access to my local files or maybe change my configuration in the system? You have these concerns. But Codex take care itself. Everything runs in the sandbox where all the properties and the rules are automatically defined, and it makes sure that everything runs inside an environment only. And by the way, not only the Codex, it also works on the kernel level also. Maybe I mean to say in the operating system level also. So whatever the rules that we have in that sandbox, all those rules are actually sent to the, what I would say, sent to the those operating system. In our case, it's a Mac OS. So when all those rules sent to the operating system also take care of all those things. It makes sure that whatever the things are running in that codex, it should not get access to the local machine. And if it try to access, it will first take an approval from you, right? I just remember the name of the tool which macOS actually use for protecting your environment and all. They basically use a seat belt. You don't have to remember the name. I just want to tell you for the knowledge. A different operating system had their own tool. Linux has their own, or Windows there has their own. But for macOS, they basically use a seat belt to make sure that everything is protected and runs in the isolated environment. Okay. So it has done some task, and I think we are able to see it. The browser works, but missing. I am installing that browser. Okay, it's currently running. Let's complete the task. We can see the changes also, that what are the changes it is doing in our file. As you can see, there shows as 4 file changes. So when I click on here, these are all the file it has changed, right? It has created the game.js file, index.html, and the styles.css file. So I can review the changes, whatever it is doing in the real time. And I can close this panel also. And if I want to open the terminal, that is also possible. You can just click on this sidebar. You have 3 options available, maybe a side chat, a new chat sidebar, or maybe a browser. We'll come to this browser part. Or maybe you can use a terminal. So if I click on the terminal, you can run the terminal inside your Codex app itself. You can just see the directory also, that where it is currently running. If I just do the pwd, which basically stands for present working directory, and when we click enter, it will say that you are currently inside this documentation codex, this state, and this task is currently running. Okay, so complete terminal look is also available in the Codex app itself. You can open the different terminal as well in the site like this, close it, everything is work there. Okay, so Chromium is downloading normally and the app's JavaScript syntax check has already passed. Okay, that's the thing, we have to wait at the time the AI is generating the response. Or at the time it is generating, we can move to the another concept also, not waste the time here. So what we can do, I show you the another thing also, right? The next thing we have pull request, this one. Now, basically, what does it actually mean? You know about the pull request in Git and GitHub, what it actually do. It basically shows all the pull requests you have in your GitHub account. But to make sure that it lists all your pull requests, you have to first connect to GitHub account with the Codex app. We will see how we can connect. I have already connected it. That's why it's not showing me that option that connect it first, then I'll show. It is already showing me that this commit and I have done the 19 hour ago and it shows me this commit, right? But I'll show you how you can connect your own pull request here so you can review all the things here. The next thing I want to show you is sites. Now, what does this actually mean? Suppose you have a rough idea, okay? And you want to share that idea in the form of website to others. What you usually do, you create a code and you just go to the hosting platform, free hosting platform like Netlify and the Vercel. You push your code and then it will generate the live URL for you, which you can actually share with the users. But in the Codex app itself, you can use this sites plugin. This is basically a plugin where you can just define that this is what I want to create and create for me. So it will not only generate the code, but also it will generate it into a live URL, which you can actually share with someone else. So if you want to use, let's say, if I create one, I'll click here. And here, this is the by default prompt. I'll just remove this prompt for now. I'll just remove this prompt. I'll say create a calculator. Just a very simple thing because we don't want to waste our time while generating the task. Create a normal calculator, I would say, even though. Just want to show you how it actually generated to a live URL. Just make sure that site plugin is enabled here and at the time you are calling this create a normal website calculator. Otherwise, it will only generate the code, not deploy it on the live URL. Now just click on the enter and wait for the response. In this case of snake game, approximately how many tokens are consumed or amount deducted? We can see this. We can see this here. If you look here, as I told you before that we are able to see that how much token we have consumed. So for that, let me show you the reference, not just in the terms of theory, but actually in terms in the reference. So if we go here, okay, this is visible or not? Just tell me. This browser. Okay. So as you can see what it says, how to check your codex usage and the rate limits. So the easiest way to test that whether how much token you have consumed and how much weekly limit has been reached, you can just run this simple command, which is a slash status command. When you run this command, it will show you all the information in the current chat or in the current window, which is currently running. But there are other ways also. The other way is that you can use not the session watcher. I'll come to this part first. You can use here also. Let's go to the OpenAI Codex. Not here. I want to show this one. Okay, here. You can see here this usage. Yeah, this section. So if you have buy the credits, you are able to see all the usage you have done till now in your tokens. It will list all that this much you have spent, this much is left in July. You are able to see there and you can even though filter it based on how much time you have consumed. So here you can easily monitor it if you want to see the entire history of the usage you have done, right? But the another thing which is not free, but it's effective, and that is Session Watcher. Now, what is Session Watcher? It's just a third-party tool which is basically used for the AI agents to monitor that how much thing or the tokens they have consumed You can monitor it in the live real time. So if you are about to reach, they will give you the maybe reminder or maybe the notification that, hey, you are about to reach the limit. Make sure that you stop using it right now or do not delegate a task which will take more tokens. Something like this. You can download it for Mac. Yeah, that's also the limitation. Only available for the Mac operating system, and you have to buy the subscription also, right? So just a minute, I'll show you here. Yeah, this one, as you can see, click to go full screen. This one. So if you in future, maybe if you're interested, if you buy this third-party tool, this is how it will show you on your Mac OS. Uh, Maybe I'm able to zoom it or not. Okay, not able to zoom, but you can see how it actually shows. It will list all the agents that are available on your local system. As you can see, it has Claude, ChatGPT, as well as Copilot. We can switch between them and we can see all the things available like 5-hour sessions for Codex, how much weekly limit left. We can also keep it in as a widgets in our desktop to monitor the things whenever we open our laptop. So this is useful, but not free, right? You have to buy the subscription for that. But the best way is this one, the slash status command, which you can use. So let me show you. Let me go back to here. Okay. Okay, it's waiting for my approval. But why I have stopped I don't want to create. Okay, I'm creating this. Okay, let's click on allow once. And here. Okay, it has created the file. Log by macOS sandbox restrictions. And what's the use of rate limit here? Okay. First, let's see the token usage limit also. As we have seen that we have a status command, right? So when I type slash status and when I click enter, you can see this is how you are able to see the token limits. It shows this current session. This is the session ID which is currently running, as well as it will show the context also that how much you have used. Context basically means the token you have used in this context window. Basically, you can have 258,000 tokens in this particular context window, and out of them I have used the 43, and 7-day limit I have used the 82% left, which will resets on 28th July, right? Just after this 1 week. So this is in this way you can see the current snapshot of how much token you have used and how much weekly limit actually left. And you can keep checking it every time by just clicking on the slash status command. Close. Approval. Again, it needs my approval. Allow once. Go here. Okay, it has created the snake game for me, but the thing is that it has not opened it on the browser. And the reason it's valid here, it says that full browser automation was blocked by macOS sandbox restriction. So because of the sandbox restriction, it is not able to open. But what if I just change the permission? If you can look at here, we have this ask for approval option, right? So if I click on this, we have these three options available, right? Ask for approvals, where for everything it will ask me for the approval. And if I click on approve for me, then for only the sensitive data, it will ask me for the approve. But if I click on full access, then it will not ask me for anything. It will take action by themselves. But this is risky part also. But I can just show you here right now for the demo purpose. So I go with the full access. It even though show me the warning also, turn on full access, I'll say okay, confirm, no worries. It will also say that it will run terminal commands, files and folder, as well as internet connected apps. So I can just click on confirm. And now I can say open it on browser. Now let's say enter. This time it has full access. It will not ask me for my approval. Yeah, this token we have seen here. This one. This is only for this window only, right? 83% left. For the next window, you have the full limit left, right? Not only the 43K. For this window, we have used 43K. This weekly limit will also degrade it gradually, simultaneously, along with your context window. Okay, so it has opened it on the browser, and this is how it looks like. Okay, looks good. Just a minute. Let me keep the things here. Okay. So let's try it out. Let's see how well it has generated. If I say start game, okay, it has started. Game over. I'm not okay. We have this controller panel also. If I click on play again, I'm able to control it. I hope so. If it is not working or what? Okay, these buttons are not working. It has generated somewhat, but functionalities are still left. I can just iterate over here and I can just make sure that the things work. Although it has opened on my Chrome browser, but if I want to open in my Codex app itself, I'll just say here, open in app browser. Now this time it will not open it on the Chrome browser, but in this app itself only. Browser instead of the system browser. So it will take only few minutes, not even the minutes, few seconds. And open a snake garden in the Codex app browser. It has opened, but where? Browser. Maybe I can open it manually and I can copy it and paste it here and then enter. So I can access my game or whatever the task I have done in the in-app browser itself inside the Codex app. This is the ChatGPT browser, not your Chrome browser, right? But it has all the functionality that the Chrome browser actually have. You can open the multiple tab. You can decide that if I want to open a new browser, you can open the multiple tab. You can have a refresh function. You can just do the zoom, autofill downloads, clear browsing data. All the things are available just like a normal browser. Okay. Now, let me show you something interesting here. Okay. Create calculator. This is also completed. I think so. Okay, it's completing. Let it be complete here. Let me show you something here. In plugins, what does this plugin actually mean here? If you remember that in the first introduction itself, I said that whenever it takes any action, it will take action with the help of tools. So those tools are actually these plugins only, right? So let's say if I want to take an example of that only, that if I want to create a documentation and I want to push that documentation inside my Google Docs. So to make sure it get pushed, I need to first access my Google Docs account as well as the Google Docs app. So I need to connect that as a plugin. Then only it will going to access it, right? So if you look at here, these are the installed plugin. Two more I can see. These are the plugins which I have already installed, the documents, PDF, spreadsheet, presentation, and sites. This is the by default. This is the in-app browser, Chrome, computer use. This is useful when you want to open any app from the computer use, from the computer itself, means from the Codex itself. And you have the GitHub also, which we're going to use, Google Drive, Vercel, and the rest of the things. So let me show you the quick demo, very quick here. Suppose if I want to open my calculator, my Mac OS calculator operating system, so I can just use the plugin which is at the rate computer use. So whenever I type at the rate, it will list all the plugins that are you have installed. So just select any one of the plugin. As I click on Control Mac app from ChatGPT, I just click here and I'll say open calculator. And when I click enter, it will open for me. Just wait for a few seconds. I'll open the calculator app on your Mac and you can see it has opened, right? It has not asked me for any approval because I have given the full access. Permission is for full access. That's why without my approval, it has opened my computer, Mac OS or my system calculator. And it's currently working because it's my system one. I can close it and it has also acknowledged me that you have opened the calculator. Now here, okay, that's also got done. If you look at here, the site it has generated for me. So I can open it It has opened it on my in-app browser. And you can look at here, it's not a normal website where we have a localhost or 127 URL, the port number. Instead, it has actually deployed it on my ChatGPT deployed URL, right? So if I just want to copy it and want to actually show you here in chat, you can see this is how it actually looks like. https and telescosora chatgpt.site. This is the actual URL it has generated for your website. Now you can share it with someone else, but before that you need to make sure. Just want to show you, if I just copy and open it in the browser here itself, it will, I don't think so it will open directly. Yeah, it will not open. It will first ask me to continue with ChatGPT because here I need to install the tool where this site is actually deployed, because at then it is using the plugin, site plugin, to deploy this website. So if you share it with someone, they need to first make sure that they are logged in with the ChatGPT account. Then only they are able to access it in their Chrome browser. But in in-app browser, we are able to access it because we are already logged in here. Let's test the functionality also of this calculator. So if I just type here 78 plus 8 equals, everything works here. Clear percentage 9 divided by 9, 0. Perfect. So I just want to show you that how agents actually work. We'll move to the next part also. Just want to show you how agents actually take actions, not just generate the code, but also create a file for you, open it on the browser. You can take the actions. And even though if you want to do any manipulation here, any changes, you can do right now, right? You can just tag the plugin here, which is @browser. If I type here browser plugin, this one. And here, maybe I'll say, maybe I want to change the design. I'll say design change, something like this. So it will look at this browser, it will take actions from there, and it will manipulate the changes for you, whatever you have assigned it. Okay. Now, once we're done with this, what next we can show you? Plugins. Like this also, we can use a different plugin also. I don't want to extend the time. Otherwise, I can show you also that how you can actually push your documentation in your actual Google Docs. And it will fetch from there. It will do the changes, and everything is available on a Google Docs, not in the Codex app itself. But it will consume time. But you get the point how you actually go with there. You just need to call that plugin if you want to make sure that it gets connected to your account. So let's say if I want to use the documentation, I just show you how you can do, but I'm not going to execute that task. I'll just write here @document. As you can see, as soon as I write, I just click here. I can select any predefined template which is suggested by the ChatGPT itself, but I don't want to select. I just close this. And here I can define what type of document I actually want to create. And when I type, for first time, it will ask you for the authentication. It will ask you for Google Drive authentication and the access of the files. And once you grant all those access, it will actually do the manipulation in your Google Docs. It will create the file. It will do the manipulation, all the things there, right? Okay. So let's not execute this task because we have done the site plugin, and as well as we have done the computer use plugin, and we have seen the normal task also. So we know how the things actually work here. Uh, Okay, some queries let's look at quickly, then let's move to the another concept after this. Once you close context window, that's over. Do we also have mobile SMS calling app on this as a plugin? We might have. Let's look at there. I don't think so. Mobile SMS plugin is there because that's require an external approval from your side. But most of the plugins are available for like feature for data analytics. If I open here, investment, sales, Gmail for drafting the messages to your Gmail, Notions, Google Calendar for productivity, Notions, creativity for developer tools, businesses, data analytics. You can explore maybe there. Maybe it is available. You can explore based on your requirement. But I don't think so for call and all we have plugin for there because that's not something agents actually do. Okay. Can we have generate digital twins as our agent using our videos or photos? Why you want digital twin moonlighting? Moonlightning. Okay. Okay, you are replying to that person. I hope so. Okay, let's move to the another thing now. Till this point, we have only explored the Codex capabilities by giving the task, by adding the plugins, by opening it from our system itself, right? But now let's see how developers actually using the Codex, because that's the most important part, because that's only the thing you are going to use day-to-day life. So what we actually do, we basically create a project here. I have already decided the project that what we actually want to create. We'll create a project. Let's say I want to create a URL shortener website, okay? And in that URL shortener website, I'll just paste the long URL and it will convert into a short URL and I'm able to redirect from that URL. So I'll just create this mini project for you. Now to create that, what you need to do? First, this is a project section available, right? This is for the normal chat. This is not a project. But if you want to create any project, just go here, select on this plus icon. Here you will get a two option. Either you can create a scratch project directly inside your this, what I would say, Codex only. But if you want to select your existing project, just click on use an existing folder. It will open your folder. You can select it from here and you can open that folder in the Codex itself. But let's start with the very fresh. Okay. I'll click on this plus icon, start from scratch, and here I'll assign the name of my project. So what's our goal? Our goal is to create a normal URL shortener website. And I'll want to give one name to it and I'll call it as Link Forge. This name makes sense here, Link Forge, which basically means a URL shortener website. And I'll say save. Okay. So in this way, we have created a folder. And inside this folder, we'll actually create the chats, not the files. File is something different. We actually do the chat here, where we assign the task to the model. So let's start with the very first one. As you can see here, as soon as I inside the chat, it says that you are inside your Link Forge project, running it on the locally, and you are in the master branch. Why it shows the master branch? Because my GitHub account is already connected. But for you, this will not show. You want to first connect to GitHub account. And now let's see how we can connect it. So inside this project, if you want to connect the GitHub account, first thing is that you need Git. And I think most of you have already installed the Git in your system if you are using with the Git GitHub, right? So this one I want to show you here. You need to install Git. So I say Git install. This one. Here you will get the preference, macOS. You will go with the brew or the sudo command. For Windows, this one. For Linux, or build from source. You can select any one of them and install the Git first. This is the first step, because if you not install the Git, then how those Git commands will work, which you actually do in the terminal, like git add, commit, push, all those commands, right? Now, once you install this Git command, the next very important thing is that you need to install GH. GH basically means for GitHub only. So if I just write here, GH install, this is what GitHub CLI. So you need to install the GitHub CLI so that it can actually access your GitHub account and able to create the repo there, able to create a pull request, changes there, commit there, all those things. So first you need to authenticate it. So to authenticate it, we need to install the GitHub CLI. So just click on here and here you can install brew install GitHub, or maybe you can select the any operating system way, maybe a macOS one. You can install this like this. Okay. So once you install all those things, the GH1 as well as the Git, the only last thing is left to authenticate your GitHub account. And that is, you can go here, open the terminal. You can open the Codex app itself in Codex app in terminal itself, or you can open your system terminal like this one. Both will work, because at then you are doing the things inside your terminal, right? You can work inside this one also, or maybe the Codex terminal to install the dependencies. So as I told you before, that once we install two things, which is Git as well as the GH, the next thing is that we need to authenticate our GitHub account. So to authenticate, you just write a command which is auth login. This is very important. Now when I click enter, it will say, where do you want to use github.com or other? I would say github.com. It will ask HTTPS or SSH. The most simplest way, go with the HTTPS and authenticate Git with your GitHub credentials. I'll say yes, enter. Now it will ask me for the login with web browser. I'll just simply click on enter, or maybe I can paste the authentication token here itself, but let's open the web browser. I click login with the web browser. Let's say first one of your copy line command. I just need to copy this code just to make sure. And once you copy this, click enter because it's asking for our approval. So I'll just say click enter. And you can see it's open this here, right? I have no option. I'll just click on continue. I'll just paste the code. Which code are we are pasting here? This code, right? Which this terminal has provided to us to log in our GitHub account. So just copy this and click on continue. The authentication was requested from this place. I'll say, okay, authorize GitHub. It will ask me how you actually want to authorize. I'll say use my password. Where's my password? This one not. Okay, let me look at my passwords. Usually I have it, but it's not showing right now. Passwords. Okay, I'll open it here. I just want to check what's my password. GitHub password. Okay, I'll just now paste it. Confirm. And it says, congratulations, you are all set. I don't want to know thanks. I now can close this window. I can go back to the ChatGPT account and here it says you were already logged in this account and you are now logged in as Naman Paria. So in this way you can connect to GitHub account. Is this clear how you can connect your own GitHub account? This is very important step. If you will not connect, then you are not able to create a repo from the Codex itself. And even the Codex are not able to do the changes in your GitHub repo. Right? Okay, so I'm assuming things are clear till this point. So let's clear this terminal and let me close this here. And now, what I want here now, next thing. Next thing is that I want to first create a README file. That is what we actually create inside our project, right? So I'll just say create a readme.md file for my URL shortener project, which will built in Express.js and as well as in React.js. We basically use Express.js and backend, and we use frontend for the React.js. And now just click enter. It will create a README file for me. This is how we actually start the project, right? We have the empty project and now it has started the chat also. Create URL shortener README. We have this master and all. Let's wait. Or although next time I'll switch it to the fast mode. Maybe here standard fast. It will consume more tokens, but at least we should not have to wait for this much time. No, we usually create README file as an MD because we README file or contains the things in the form of Markdown format only. If you have ever created the GitHub repo, you always created the README file in the Markdown format only. That's why we use the .md extension, right? And it has created. I have an option here also, open in VS Code default app, terminal shown here and there as well. I can just click on review to see what it has created. Just expand it. This is what it created. Okay. Just a normal README file it has created for me. The next step is that I want to push this README file into the GitHub repo. But till this point, we have not created a repo. So I'll just write here, create a public repo with the name Linkforge. Or maybe I would not just set the name because we have already created the name in our project. So it will automatically fetch the name from there and give it to the GitHub repo. So I'll just say create a public repo. Create a public repo, just this one. And I would go with the fast mode this time. And yes, let's now send the task. So it says I'm using the GitHub workflow skill because creating a public repository changes external state. Yeah, we will provide you maybe in the resources section of this entire video, which you will able to see in the platform in learn.telesco.com as I recorded, where you will find the resources section. So maybe later on we'll provide the referral for you, right? For the documentation. So now if you can see here, I have already authenticated with my GitHub account. That's why it is able to create a public repository for me. And I want to able to see this also. So I'll just click on here. It open my github.com account. I just copy this. I want to open the browser also. Here, just paste. And you can see this is my account. And here it has used my readme.md file, which is you can see just now committed. And this is what we have seen here, right? So everything is done in Codex itself. We have not created our repo as well as we have not used any git commands. We just tell and assign the task to the Codex and it is automatically generate us a repo for us and with the command as well as with the branch. Perfect. Now, this is the initial step we have done. The next thing is we need to create a project or we need to decide what we actually want to create inside this one. We actually want to create a URL shortener. So we need to tell that create this particular file, use the backend, which is Express.js as well as for the front end React.js. Now, whenever we are working inside any project, we want the codex to always make sure that it follows some guidelines and the instructions. For example, you want codex that every time it execute any task inside this particular project, which is a link forge, it should always run the test command after generating the code. You want this convention or the rule in your project, okay? And let's say you also want that whenever it is creating any variable name or the file name, it should follow some naming conventions. We are just defining these rules and all, right? So to guide these all things to the codex, we usually create agents.md file. I'll also explain what does the agents.md file actually do. But if I want to explain it in a more easy way, then you can also understand in such a way. For example, let's say when a junior developer gets hired in the company, what the first thing he will receive? The first thing he receives from the manager and the senior developer is the instructions and the guidelines. Those managers explain them that what tech stack we are working on, how deployment actually goes on there, how we actually communicate with the team members. It explains all the things to them. So the next time when junior developers start working, it is able to understand, okay, these are the things actually work in this particular company, right? Or if I want to make you understand with one more example, right now we have created the readme.md file. What's the purpose of the readme.md file in the GitHub repo? To actually guide people that what this repo actually contain. In the readme.md file, you explain all the things like you explain about the things that project description, how to install the dependencies, how to run this particular project, what are the paths available. You explain all those things. You basically guide humans who are reading your profile, who are reading your GitHub profile or the GitHub repo. But if you want to guide Codex for this particular project, you need to create agents.md file. Just like we create the readme.md file for humans, just for this project, we need to create agents.md file where you define all the instructions. So I'll just write here slash init. Now this is one of the command slash init command, which basically creates an scaffold agents.md file for you. A scaffold basically means some set of predefined instruction it is already created for you inside of agents.md file. And the instruction it created, it will get based on the project you have defined here. As you can see here, we have a link forge project, right? So based on that only, it will create the project instruction for you. So when I type this command slash init, as you can see here, it shows me on this option also that it will create an agents.md file with instructions for Codex. So if I just write here slash init, you will see what will happen here now. I'll base this guide on repository current state and clearly distinguish existing conventions from the intended client and the server layout. So it is reading my repository current, that whatever the name, and based on my readme file, it will some have a scaffold instruction for me. And if I'm okay with those instructions, I can go with. Or if I want to make sure to create my own instructions, I can change agents.md file. Okay. So this is the agents.md file looks like. I can review it. Okay. So this is how it looks like. It has a repository guidelines, project structure and module, link forge, build, test, and development commands like npm install, npm run dev. These are all the instructions we have given to the Codex. So if it execute any task, it makes sure that we have defined all those instructions here. But if I want to give my own instructions instead of this one, I can edit this file. I hope I have option, open the file and view source. This is the source code, okay? I want to change this. Instead of this one, I want to paste my own agents.md file and my own conventions and the guidance. So I have one project. I think in the documents here. Okay. I'll just keep it here. And here I'll just paste my agents.md file, which I have already created. Where it is, just want to see. Okay, this one. And I'll just cut all these things and paste my agents.md file. This one. I've already created before for this project, but you can decide your own, but everything should be in the markdown format only, right? So I'll just save this. This is my agents.md file. I have two options. Either I can commit it here directly, or maybe I can create the rest of the files and then I can commit all at once, right? And before committing, I can also review the changes, just like we have this one review. Just like we do in the VS Code also, we can review the changes here as well using this review panel. I'm able to see what are the changes it has done here. And files also available. Let me close this for now. Let's go with the another thing. Once we created the agents.md file, which is an instruction file for my Codex, the next thing we need to is define the task to it. Now we'll basically explore one concept here, which is sub-agents. But I just want to ask you guys that what do you understand actually by sub-agents? What does sub-agents actually mean? Anyone of you have any idea what does the sub-agent actually do? Okay, under agents, sub-agent. Yes, that's true. Agent for an agent. Agent for an agent, it just look like it's working for someone. Not like that. It's working under the hood. For every task, it creates an agent. Yes, somewhat like this. It tests and checks our app. Okay, good. So let's say I want to create my project, which is this project URL shortener, where I want to create my backend the Express and the front end the React, and I want to make sure I have a test and the documentation thing also available. So I have two options. First, I can assign all this prompt at once to the agent, to my main agent, and say create all these things for the backend, front end, and test all at once. But when I do so, it will take some time for sure because we have given a long prompt to it. It will generate all the files, it will do the testing for each files, and then at last it will generate the code for me. So I have to wait and monitor all the things. The another option is that I can delegate the task one by one. Maybe I can first say to my main agent that first create the backend in Express.js. And when it complete that task, I would say now create the front end. And after that, I will say test all the files. But here also, I have to wait for my agent to complete one task before I give it to the next one, right? So what I can do, I can delegate the task to the multiple agents that works parallelly. So one agent will create the backend, another agent will create the front end, and one more agent will test all those things. And at last, when all those things get done, it will send the output to my main agent, which is a supervisor, right? Which will monitor all those changes. And after reviewing all those changes, it will give me the final output. So this is how we actually work here. So just a minute. This one here. And I'll just put the command which I have already written. So it will save our time. This command. I'll just read it loud. What this command actually says here, or the prompt. It says, build a URL shortener project using subagents. Split the work into independent tasks. One subagent should create the front end, another should build the backend APIs, and another should prepare test and documentation. And after they finish, integrate everything. So you have seen here what we have done. We are explicitly telling our codex to create the multiple agents with these tasks. Now, this is a drawback, I would say, in the codex because in Cloud Code, you do not have to explicitly or manually trigger these agents. It will automatically understand based on the task you have given. So, if you have given a long task, it will make sure that it will delegate those tasks to the different agents, and all those agents will work simultaneously for your task. But in Codex, we have to manually tell that please create these agents for me with this particular task. So, this is what we have done here. Now, as soon as I hit the prompt, you will see what's going to be here. I have given a full access, so I don't have to wait for the approval. Everything let the codex manage. So I'll just click here and let's wait now. We can read what it's actually doing. It says I'll split into a 3 parallel tracks as requested: React frontend, Express API backend, and the test documentations and all those things. The endpoint. And here you can see one thing now. We are able to see the subagent, right? One. Now this is the two. Slowly it is creating the subagent based on our task. We have defined that it should create the 3 subagent, and it has created now. These are the 3 subagents working right now. And steps are working. This is the front end, back end, and the test docs. I can monitor each subagent also, that what are the tasks that are actually going on here. So if I open the front end, we can see this is how my front end subagent actually working under the hood. And in between, if I want to now monitor the backend, that what does the backend agent actually do? I can switch to the backend one, and it has some summary, and it is doing the thinking right now and will execute the task for me. And the test docs will, I think, definitely runs afterwards once it will get the code from the backend and the front end agent. So let's keep this sidebar closed for now. And this time I'm a little bit surprised because the name it has created for the subagent, which is front end, backend, and test docs, are actually meaningful. But I don't know whenever I use these agents in Codex, they basically get a very funky name, even though it's very hard to pronounce. But this time, I'm glad that it created a meaningful name: front end, backend, and test docs. Basically, these names are just a random names this time, but good name. We were able to perform multiple tasks using our CPU only. Why do we need GPU for AI? Okay, we were able to perform multiple tasks from our CPU only. You are able to perform, but how you can execute those tasks? You can perform the CPU. Like at least you need the Codex AI agent to perform the task. And even if you're talking about that, we can use it in the CLI also instead of using this GUI interface. That also possible with the Codex. We'll move to that part, how you can use it in the CLI. Okay, it just says that all three subagents are now working in parallel and the three tasks are complete. The backend API is working, the front end builds, and the backend has 7 passing HTTP tests. Integration checks are clean. Okay, it says that 3 subagents are done also. Front end completed. Task, I can open it. I can see these are the changes. Okay, I can open it in the website, but I don't want to open. Let it be like this. Close this subagent. Let it give me the final output. Okay, it has done. I can open it here in the in-app browser. It is reloading. Hmm. The site can't be reached. Localhost refused to connect. Okay. Npm install, then open. Okay, first we need to run this application. Oh, first we need to run this command, right? The API runs at this. Readme file and all. Local and uncommitted. Okay. So first thing I need to do is I want to commit all those changes. It has the multiple changes in the lines, total 3000 changes. And these are the files it has created. App.jsx for front end. And all those things are created in parallelly, right? We don't have to wait for the agents to complete our task. Server, this is client, server, git ignore and all. Okay, let me push this command, this code first. So I'll say push the code with commit, enter. Although I can push it from here also, we have this interface commit or push, but let's write the command. I'm using the git publishing workflow to verify the exact change set. Push it to the existing public repository. The change set contains only the intended link forge applications. And yeah, now you can see all the lines has gone. Previously it shows 2000 line, but now 0 line. That means all the code has been pushed and shows the commit ID as well. Working branch main or minch. We have already opened it on the browser, right? So we can see it here. If we refresh the page, yes, all the files are now available. Right, with the commit message, build full stack URL shortener, and everything works here. Perfect, right? Now the next thing. The next thing is that if we open any of the file, let's say I open my all the files, sidebar, review, terminal files. These are my files. If I go to the server, I just want to see what it has actually created, whether they are meaningful or do I need to do any iteration here. We have index.js, server.js, and the store.js. I'll go to the server.js. I'll expand it a little bit more for the clear view. And here, okay, it has created some endpoint for us. App.get, app.post, one more get route, get. Okay, some routes are available. I want to test this application, so I would test it. Previously, it has suggested me how to test npm install, npm run install. I would just say that run the application. Run the application. I don't want to install it by myself. I just say run the application. Let the Codex do it all by itself. It says I'll start both Express API and the React development server from the repository root, then confirm each endpoint is reachable or not. Okay, it has done the application. Let's see whether we are able to access it or not. And yes, we are able to access it. And this is how it actually looks like. Let's test it out now. Our application is completed. Although there is no database, no deployment, everything running in the local, we'll move to that part also. But till this point, our actually project is running. So if I want to paste any URL, what URL I can paste? Let's go to the browser to have any URL. Let's say this one. Yeah, this is a long URL. I can just copy this and we can go back here just to test our application. Paste and shorten link. And it has shorted it. We can copy link here or we can just click on here to open it. Let me click this link directly. And yes, it is able me to redirect to that particular page. So the link shortener is actually working. It has converted my long URL to the short one. We are able to copy it. And if I paste, browser, paste. Yeah, paste is also work. So we have done the minimal work with the Codex, right? And we have also pushed our code. Now the next thing is that if you look at here, I feel like that. What if I add some another URL? Let's say this one now. What will happen if I push this one instead of now this? Will it maintain the history or not? Shorten URL. No, it just give me the latest one, right? So I want this feature that it should have the list of the URL, whatever it is generated. And also it should have a delete functionality also because I don't want the multiple list at once. So I need these two features. So I'll just quickly say, I'll say, first thing is that show me the list of recent, or I would say not like this, create the functionality to have recent list of shorten URL like this. Okay, let it do this task. I write a server backend recent list endpoint, then service it in the React UI with automatic refresh after shortening. Okay, I don't think that will take much time. Get API URL. It is doing the changes. We can monitor the changes also. If I go back here, files, npm run dev is actually running in the background. So we don't have to start. I'll just click here, files, server.js. I can click on the review also to review the changes. Last turn. This here we can actually see what are the things it is doing. Last turn means the latest changes it is doing. We can also see the staged if we have done any stage which we are not committed yet. So we can see that also. And if we have any committed, no commits on branch. Unstaged changes, we are also able to verify that itself. And branch was also. Currently, we have only one branch, which is origin main. So let's go to the turn on right now, this one. And here it is creating the URL for me. It should create it fast. It should not waste the time. I hope so. Just read me. Okay, it has done the changes. We are able to see the unstaged changes now. Done the changes in the app.jsx file as well as another file as well, server.js. Yes, it has added the URL, which is API/URL for the recent list. Let's wait it for the complete, then let's see whether things are working or not for us. We can close the review, close the files, close this also, and let our project is only run. Minimize this window for now. And okay, it has now completed the task. Done all these changes. Let's open here. Okay. And yes, we have now this functionality, which is a history, which will show the recently shortened URL. So let's try it again. If you go back to the browser and first let's paste this one. Paste it, shorten, it generated, and we are able to see in the history and with the copy button. And it also shows the timestamp that when we have created this short URL. But now let's paste another one to see whether the thing's working or not. Copy and just paste this one and now click on shorten URL. Perfect. We have now created the history where we can manage all the things. We can now copy the previous one also and the latest one as well. So till this point, we have this feature also implemented. I would like to commit these changes because I need to keep a track of everything. So maybe I can write the commit, or I'll just say commit and push from here itself. Instead of writing the command, I'll say commit and push. It will ask me for the commit message. I will leave it as a blank, so it will generate by itself. I'll say commit and push. It will generating a message by default based on the changes we have done in the code. And now it is pushing the changes and commit and push. Python knowledge we can manage if we know writing this command to. Yes, that's true. Agents are smart enough nowadays. We just need a basic English and the basic prompt engineering technique, and of course the knowledge of the code. Because if you get stuck, you actually know how you can actually debug this, right? So not totally vibe coded mode with just the English knowledge, but also not too expert in particular tech stack. You should be in the middle, which can work with the agents. Okay, so it has now done the changes here, and everything works. I want to verify also whether the changes are here or not in our GitHub. Where's my GitHub here? If I just refresh the page, yes, 1 minute ago, added recent URL history set. Now so you can see this is the commit message. It is generated by itself, and it's a meaningful one, right? So if you are juggling with the commits, and that's what the developer most of the time juggle, they actually feel like that what should be the commit I should create for this one. So, but agents take care of this now. You just leave it blank. It will generate the meaningful commit for you based on the code changes you have done. And for now, it has created us for this one, which is the add recent URL history listing, which actually makes sense. We are able to understand what the things goes on here. Perfect. So let's go back to our application now. We have all these changes and everything is pushed. The next thing is that I want to create a delete API, right? So I want to first show you one thing, changes, files, server.js. This one, yeah, let me expand it. Here you can see that here we have multiple endpoints, right? We have endpoints for API health, API URLs, post API, for get API, for shortcode, for get API one more, but delete one is not there. So I want to create a delete API, right? But if I simply say create a delete API, then there might be the chance that it will use some new code structure to actually get the delete API. Maybe here it will follow the different syntax. Terms of syntax means different pattern. Right now, if you look at here, I just created all these endpoints at once. That's why it all follows the same pattern, where it has a status code, JSON format return as output, where it has a status code, okay, and error message is also there, something like this. But if I now explicitly say that create a delete API, then there might be the chance that it may follow the different pattern to create the delete API. But I don't want that. I want that it should create it in the same pattern, just like it created the rest of the APIs. So We are going to understand the new concept here to make it possible. Basically, if you want the agents to work to that particular task based on the previous task, means previous pattern and all, you can create a skills. Skills basically mean if you define a skills and you can say that use this skill for this task, what it will do, in that skill you mention all the things, all the instructions. Like you can say that whenever you receive these type of task, make sure you follow all this instruction and then based on that execute the task. Just like we have agents.md file for the entire project, right, where you can guide our project how the things actually work inside that. Same like that, we have a skills.md file which is only made for your task, whatever the task you're defining there. For example, why we are not saying delete agent but creating a delete API instead? What's the difference? We can. There are the ways. I just want to show you the different concept. We can create a sub agent also where we can write everything in the prompt. For example, if I want to create, I have to explain everything like this. Create a delete API and make sure you have JSON response for OK and error for when it gets error. Whenever you fall back, I would say like this, whenever you fall back, and also follow the same pattern, follow the same pattern like this. I have to explain this entire thing, right? And this is only for the one API. What if you want to create the multiple API and feature? Maybe you want to create a different features and you want to create the multiple API. Will you explain all those things every time in the prompt again that follow the same instruction, follow the same pattern for to create the API? Of course not. Then what's the use of agent? Instead of that, what we can create? We can we can do this repeatable task with the help of skills. You create the skills one where you can define that if you receive this type of task, you can explicitly call that skill. You just say use this skill to create the delete, right? That's it. It will automatically inject that skills, whatever you have steps defined there, and it will create the delete API based on the instructions you have defined in your skills.md file. I want to show you how you can do this. We have the two options. The first one, I can use here at the rate skill creator. As you can see, skill creator. When I call this, I can create a skill. I'll just define my entire prompt at once here that create a skill for the API endpoints where it should follow this pattern. So for every API route, whenever I want to create in a future, make sure it follow all this pattern. I can define all those things and it will create a skill for me. But if I want to create it manually, that can also be possible, because if you create this skill.creator, it will not create inside your project directory. That's the main issue with that. A skill creator actually create a skill file for you, but that skill file is for all the projects, not only for the LinkForge, because it created in the root directory. Root directory means in the user folder where your system directory codex file is available. Like .codex folder is available. I want to show you that. Just open the Finder. Uh, just a minute. Here. Okay. So this is my user folder, right? So whenever you install any applications and all, they basically create some hidden files with the system directory. And they all created in a home directory of a system. Maybe in your macOS, it's a user folder. But if you're in the Windows, it might be something different. But everything in the root folder itself. So if I want to see that hidden file, I'll just use the macOS command. I don't know if you are using the macOS or not, but if you are in the macOS, you can use this shortcut key, which is Command Shift or period all together. And when you do so, it will open all the hidden files in your file directory. And here, if you scroll down, these are all the system directory files, .ssh, .xppen, whatever the applications you have in your operating system, on your system. And here you can see we have .codex also. I have a .cloud also because I have used the cloud code also before. And if you install the .codex, it will create this system directory file for you also. Open this file, and here these are some files it will generate in the background. Now, if I create a skill from here, with the plugin skill creator, it will by default create it inside my this folder, which is a home directory. And when it gets here, what will happen? My all projects are able to access it. I can access that skill in the all the projects, but I want to create that skill only dependent to my particular project, which is a link force right now. I'll show you both the ways. Skills, we have these two skills right now. Okay. Now you can see one thing. If I use a skill creator and I say create a skill with a name review, just for the testing, I just write this name with a name review, which will review the code. And when I say enter, it will create a skill with me. It will create a skill for me with the name review, and you will see where it will create. I'm using this where, and you can see the path now. Auto discover directory dot codex slash skills slash review. Now, what does this actually mean? It is creating inside our dot codex, which we have seen right now, inside our user directory. And inside that user directory, we have the skill folder, which we have also seen. This one, right? And yeah, you can see now it has created the review. And this is my skill.md as well as agent file. These two files are created by one. This is optional, this agent file. This is just for the UI template, but this is what we actually want for the skills. So now you can use this skill anywhere inside your project, because under the hood, every projects are being created inside .codex folder only. But I don't want this. I want create a particular skill for my particular project. So skill is valid. We have this skill now along with the OpenAI.yml file. If I want to show you whether this skill is available or not, so if I just say at the rate review. Okay, review skill is not coming, I think so. If I write here use slash review. Okay, that skill is not coming, but it has all actually created it here, right? In our main file folder. This one. Codex. And we have our file skills and review. This is a file it has created in the home directory. But let's see how we can create our insight for this particular project. So to create it, first thing we need to access all those files in our local environment, then only we are able to manipulate it. Inside this Codex app, you have no option to create a file here. You are able to see all the files. If I show you here, files of here, files, close this one. We are able to see all the files we have in our project directory, but we are not able to add a new file here, right? Not possible to add a new file. We can only monitor and view it. So to make sure, we either open it in the code editor, ID editor, maybe VS Code or something else. So I'll have this option open in VS Code. So I'll say open in VS Code, and it might open, I think so. Yeah, it has opened. And this is how it looks like. My now entire project in the VS Code. And if I made any changes through Codex app, all those changes will reflect in my VS Code also, because at then they are synchronized. We have this server SRC and we have this client also with the front end code. So here, if I want to create my skills, what I can do, I can first create one thing, which is folder with the name dot codex. We have seen this in the user directory also. Same like that, you have to create a dot codex folder inside your particular project if you want to create a skill for that particular project only. Just create this folder, and now inside this folder, you have to define what? You have to define skills. So just create a folder with the name skills. And now inside this folder, you have to create one more folder. And that folder is actually the name of your skill. So if you notice here in the Codex app, we have given the name like this one, create a skill with the name review, right? So the same thing you are doing here right now. In the skills folder, you will create a name of the folder which you want to create, name of the skill. So I want it should be new endpoint or maybe endpoint. API endpoint, that makes sense, I'd say. API endpoint. So I have created, first we need to create a .codex. Inside that we need to call the skills folder. Inside that all your skills will there, whatever you want to create inside that project. And now in this API endpoint, I think we have created a file instead of folder. Is it? Okay. If I delete, will all the things get deleted? API endpoints, move to trash. Okay. Actually, I want to create a folder, not a file. Inside my skills folder, it should be API/endpoint. Okay. Now inside this, we need to create our actual file, which is skill.md. Now the name we have right here, which is skill.md, this you should cannot change. It should be exactly the same name. Only you can change the name of your skill, which is the API endpoint, and you can create the multiple skills inside the skill folder. Now, once you create this skill, what the things you have to define here? Let me zoom it and keep it like this. Codex like reserve words or system variables while creating agents, please. Yes. So see, in this skills, we have to define two things. First, name. So I'll just open here like this. And here, we need to first define the name. What is the name of my skill? It would be API endpoint. And the next thing you need to define, description. Both is useful, and these are the must thing you need to have in your project. I'll create the description here and I'll explain you why we have these both things. Name basically help you to call this particular skill in your prompt. So you can say use API endpoint skill, and description basically help you to implicitly call that skill. You know what does the implicitly actually mean? That basically means you will not explicitly call your API in the prompt, that skills in your prompt. Based on the description you have defined here, Codex will automatically understand whether this task requires that skill or not. For example, if this is my API endpoint, and here if I define some endpoint, and let the next time if I say to the prompt that create a delete API route. Now when I say delete API route, Codex will look at the skills, whether any skills available in your project which is matching with the description of the prompt which user has sent. If it is matching, it will automatically inject that skill to your prompt. Now this is all possible because of the description you have defined here. So always make sure that whatever the description you are defining here, it should be concise as well as limited to the scopes and boundaries. That is very important. So make sure you have defined the description here. So I'll just write the description. Let's say I write here, or maybe I just paste it. Why to keep the things type every time when we have already it? Just copy and paste it. We have these two things, right? Name and description. Description is add a new express route to link forge following our conventions. Conventions I'll mention later in this skill.md file itself. But here I have to write the description. So next time if I create any route, it will understand this description and it will call my skill.md file. Now, whenever you are creating the name and description, always make sure that you create it inside the front matter, or maybe you can call it as front load. Both names work there. Basically, what does it actually mean? You usually need to create this dash, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, this dash. And we need to close it with this 3 hyphen sign again. Basically, we call it as front matter or front load. So your name and description comes inside your front matter. And after this, you have to define the rules or the instructions for that skills. As we have written that following our convention. So here we will mention the skills or the instruction. So just copy all the instructions which I have written here. Just copy and paste it. Oops, not here. I want to paste here. Okay. And I want to also mention one thing, which is steps. So I can just write it like this. So these are the steps I mentioned. What? Add the route to src server.js, follow the existing response shape, which is the pattern like data on success, failure like error, add matching storage logic, src store.js if needed, write a test in the test, run npm test and make sure everything passes before finishing. So these are the skills or the instructions I have given to my skill.md file. Now let me save this, already saved. Now if you go back to our ChatGPT app or the Codex app, and if you open our files here, and we can see this, our skills are available inside our file because everything is sync. So if you create it in the VS Code, you are able to see the same change in the here also, in your Codex app file also. You got this API endpoint, and this is how in the Markdown it looks like in the preview. We have a name as well as description. Now, if I want to use this, I can simply use this. I'll just go back here in the prompt and I'll say use slash, and what is the name of my skill? It is a API endpoint. So I'll say API, and you can see this. We have this API endpoint right now, right? It says add a new express route to link forge following our convention, and this is our description. How is this possible? Because we have created skills inside our project and we have mentioned the name as well as description there along with the instructions. So when I say API endpoint, use API endpoint to create a delete route. Simple like that. Nothing else you need to explain because all the things have I already explained in your skills or instructions. Now just hit the prompt and let's see, it will read all the instructions and based on that only it will create a delete route. Although if I do not mention this and I simply say that create a delete route, it will automatically read my description, skill description, and automatically inject it on my task if it matches. By the way, is this clear how skills actually work? How you can create the skills? And what's the role of the skills? Okay. Basically, just reduce the work where you are doing the repetitive task and where you feel like that task require the same instructions. You just create a skill once and you reuse that skills every time for the same task. And you can see it has done the same thing. It follows same pattern just like the another API it has created, and everything mentioned here uses the server.js file, store.js and all. I can review the changes before committing it on the GitHub. I'll just open this file. I am in the review section. I can see what are the changes it has done in the diff. I can just expand it like this. Okay. We can see we have a delete route and these are the changes in the line number 1, not 3 to 114. Yeah, skills basically save times and it's very useful when you have used the same task multiple times. And subagent as both can use interchangeably. See, as I told you before, skills can only be used when a same task needs to be assigned to the agent. Like in our case, we want to assign the API endpoint, but we need to also make sure this API, and I feel like that I will use this API endpoint in the future also because right now I have a delete API, but let's say if I want a post API also, post API is also there. Maybe I want update API or some other API. So I know that in future I might use a API prompt again. So I don't want to write those things again. So I just create a skill once, right? Yeah, you can create a one skill today and use tomorrow or call in the next session time. Yeah, because you have created inside a project. So you can access it anywhere. Or if you want to access it in all the projects, then you need to create in the root folder, which we have seen right now in the user folder. And that you can create with the skill creator plugin also, because by default, it follows the same path. And if we come back to the previous question, which is how to decide whether we use to skill or the sub-agent. Sub-agent can only be used when you want to keep the main agent away from the noise. Yeah, noise makes sense here. Yeah, away from the noise. What type of noise? Like creating the back end, front end, and all. You want to main agent only focus to the integration, test and documentation, planning, relevant resources, all those things only. And you can delegate all the tasks to your agents. And also you need to make sure use agents wisely, just not just for the fun. You just want to use the parallelly, you just use that because it will cost API token much faster than the normal agent. Because right now you're not only running the one agent, you are running more than one. So of course your tokens will get consumed fast and it will weekly limit will also get reached too fast. So this based on your task you have, decide that whether you need to call a sub-agent or not. If you have a very complex task and you feel like that it will not get fit in the entire context window of the agent because it will create a long output for you, then you can delegate into the multiple agent. Each sub-agent has their own fresh context window. So you will not reach the context window limit also. I hope it makes sense and it's clear to you. Okay. Uh, Yeah, we have seen that in the global libraries also. We have created the review skill in the global library, which we can use in the different. Maybe if I create a different project here, I am able to access that review directory, that review skill also, but not this one, which we have created right now. API endpoint. API endpoint is only available inside my link forge because we have created inside the link forge folder only. Okay. So it has created the delete route. Things are working here fine. Okay. Let me push the changes. Oh, I have already reviewed, I think, right? I'm in the review section. I can review the things. And I believe that agents create everything work but well. I just want to push these changes. Uh, just close this. I'll say commit and push my change. Commit and push. It will automatically generate the message. And it is generating the message and it will push on the GitHub. So we have understand the skills also. What next we need to understand? Let's look that also. We have in the here. The next thing we need to understand is what else we need to make sure that we do not miss. Mm, Subagent is covered, skills are covered. Okay, I want to show you something now. Or maybe we can use that afterwards at that flow. That makes sense. Okay. We have the things working here. Okay, these guardrails. I think this is a part of hooks, if I'm not wrong. I have not used the guardrails a lot because I don't think so we basically use in day-to-day coding. Because I'm using the Codex from the last 3-4 months and I've never used this guardrails and all. But I'm pretty sure that this might be the part of hooks if I'm not wrong. Okay, changes are done. We have API endpoint and my project is also running, right? If I can keep it in the browser like this, and if I open my localhost 5173, and I think I should add HTTPS also. Let's see. No. Okay, so everything working here. Project, paste, shorten, link get short. Just remove this and paste another one now. Short. Things are working here. Although it's set, everything is in our store.js file, so which is an in-memory store. So if we start the server every time, all the data will get vanish because right now we don't have any persist database. So we need to make sure that also. But before that, what else I can do here? I have a delete route. I want to explain one concept, but I'm not sure that how I explain that concept. Maybe you guys suggest me, do we have any another feature in this project apart from this? Because that concept can be only understandable with the feature. What else we can have this in this A2A MCP communication? No, I want to talking about this project. Inside this project, okay, I just got one feature. Right now we have a delete API, but that delete functionality is not using it on the UI. We don't have the delete button and all. So we can have this feature to make sure that whatever the recent short URL we have, we are able to delete that also. So what we are going to understand the concept with that feature, we're going to understand about the work tree. And that is very useful when you actually want to work with the multiple branches at the same time. Yeah, database will come. We'll definitely integrate the database and also we'll deploy our application. and I'll serve the URL also so you can test it on your system. But before that, you guys tell me whether you know about the work tree. What's the work tree actually mean in Git GitHub, and how we actually use it? Anyone? Okay. What's the use of it, work tree? Just a small definition or the small explanation. It's very useful in the Codex app. Not only in the Codex, but if you are working in the normal project without AI, you can work on the multiple branch features. Yes, that's correct. I'll show you with a demo. Just a minute. How to get large volumes of test data for learning models. Large volume of test data. If you want to get a large volume of test data, then you have a high RAM and all, and you want to run your models local using the Olama and all. Then only you can train your models, right? Training it on just this cheap RAM or the GPU, it's not possible. So let's go and look at the work tree. I'll make you understand how the work tree actually works with a very good example I have right now. Here's this one. I'll just open it on the VS Code. Is it open? Yes. Please just confirm me once whether you are able to see the VS Code with a work tree test folder. Perfect. Okay. So first of all, let me tell you what does the work tree in Git actually solves the problem. See, whenever you have multiple branches and you want to switch the branches frequently, let's say in one branch you have one feature and you want to switch to the another branch, but it can only be possible when that branch code is already committed on the GitHub, right? You know, you have seen this problem. If you are trying to switch to the branch without committing, it says you need to first commit those changes or you need to stash them if you want to switch the branch, right? Let me show you here. Right now, if I show ls, we have only one file right now, which is readme.md, and that's inside my worktree.test. And you can see here, currently we are running our main branch. So if I just open git branch, enter, you can see we have total, I would say, two branch or the three branch. Three branch maybe because main is the by default, but we have created this two branch, feature one slash login and the feature two slash sign up. And if I switch to the one branch, let's say git checkout feature one slash login. When I say enter, I'm able to switch. And inside this feature one dot login, I have two files, login.html, which has nothing, just a login.page with h1 tag. And I have a readme.md file. And even if I want to see how many files this feature one slash login contains, I'll just write a ls command. It will show me the file. Now let me switch to the feature two branch also, just to show how many files are available there. So I'll just write a feature two. And I hope you are familiar with these git commands that I'm writing, a git checkout, ls, maybe git branch. These are the normal git commands, right? And it is a sign up. And when I click enter, we have switched to the sign up branch. And when I say ls, there we have two, I would say, file, readme.md as well as signup.html file. These two files, okay? Now, just keep it bit. So if I just want to show you one thing, if I go back to the feature one again, slash login. Now in this file, if I do one change, let's say in login.html, I say login page update. Okay. And now, if I want to switch to my sign up page, let's say my sign up page has some dependency. That sign up branch has some dependency with this branch, a feature one login branch. So if I want to switch to the sign up branch, so let's say if I try to switch git checkout feature to sign up, when I try, we got error. And you are, of course, familiar with this error because this might come on your system if you have used the git so much. You have much occurred this feature, right? Most of the time, which says Your local changes to be following files would be overwritten by checkout, login.html. Please commit your changes or stash them before you switch branch. That means I'm not able to switch the branch. I need to first commit them. Or I can undo them, or I need to stash them before switching the branch. That's the major problem. But how this work tree now solve this problem? Basically, what does a work tree do? It creates different directories for separate branch. Right now we have two branch, feature 1 slash login, feature 2 slash sign up. And all those branches are available in my one directory, which is inside my work tree slash hyphen test, this folder. This is actually directory. So all my branches are available in this directory itself. But using the work tree, I can have my branches into the different directory and still they point to my main directory, which is a work trees hyphen test. So I have one image which will make it much clear. Just a minute. Okay. Here, this image. Okay. Now, what do you actually understand by this image? Looking at this image, I think you got little bit clearer picture about what does the work tree actually do. You can see here there are multiple branches. We have master branch, hotfix branch, release branch, develop branch, and the feature branch. And all these branches have not only available in my one directory, in which is this one, right? Not only in this directory. Instead, all these branches available in my different directory. This one has one directory, which is master branch. This contains one branch, which is hotfix. This directory contains my purple branch, which is develop. This one contains a release, and this work tree contains only a branch, which is feature branch, right? So if I want to switch between the work tree, I'm able to do so because right now we are not only in the one branch, one directory, we are inside multiple directories. So let's see how the things goes on. VS Code here. What I can do, I can first make sure where I'm right now. ls readme.md. Okay. pwd work tree test. I want to go one step outside from this. So I'll say current directory out ls. Now we are inside the work tree hyphen test. And if I say ls a, we have these many things available. So I want to show in the Finder also to make it more clear. You can see that I am in the desktop folder, and in my desktop, I have only one directory, which is a work tree hyphen test. So I'll just go first inside this directory, ls work tree. And in this directory, we have only, okay, I'm inside. No, I'm not yet. I need to first go inside this directory. Okay. Yeah, right now I'm in this work tree directory and I have two files inside this, readme.md and the login.html file. So if I just write here ls-a, we get all the files available inside this. .git also, where we initialize our git repository, readme login is also there, and this directory path. Now here basically we'll create two work trees. So I'll just write here the command git work tree add, and then I'll say // work tree name, whatever you want to give. In my case, I just want to call it as W1, a short work tree name. And then I'll give the branch name, what this work tree actually holds. So I want that work tree 1 should has the branch, which is feature1/login. This one. I say enter. It says preparing work tree, checking out feature1 login, and it has created. Same like that, I need to create one more work tree. And this is for feature2 sign up. So every work tree has only one branch. Sign up, enter. So yeah, we have now two work trees. If I clear ls inside my readme, I just go one step ahead, back, ls. Okay, we have work tree test as well as WT, but work tree 1 is not available. If you go here, We have this worktree 2 directory, right, inside our desktop. But why worktree 1 is not created? Maybe we have created it inside our worktree 1. No. Okay, just quickly see what's the issue. Mm, feature 1 slash login. Feature 2 sign in, feature 1 login. It should create a worktree 2. Okay, let me try it once again. Maybe some issue. Um, add not a Git repository. Okay, I need to first go inside cd worktree ls-a. We have these things. Okay, now let me run this worktree 1 feature 1 login again. Preparing, and it might have created now. Let's check it out. Downloads, desktop. Okay, still not created. I don't know what's the issue. Maybe should I try with different name? Because we have created in the same way we have created the worktree 2, right? But worktree 2 is visible but not worktree 1. Even though the branch name is correct, feature 1 slash login. Let it me give something else. Worktree 1 slash login. And enter. Copy worktree 32 to 31. Feature 1 login is already taken by, it says that it is already taken by worktree test. Maybe we have changes there. I should revert these changes. Maybe that's create the problem. Discard file. Let me run this. Already used. Okay. Okay, maybe the problem is that worktree test is already using that. That's the problem, I think so. Multiple sessions on these work trees separately. Yeah, we can run it. That's what I want to show you. But I think it's not possible right now. We are running with some issues. Just a minute. We git work tree, add work tree 1. We have feature 1 login. I think I just want to check it out first. Git checkout feature 1 slash login. Just want to see what are the things available in this branch. Already on branch ls. We have readme.md and login. And now if I check out main. Yeah, right now I'm in main branch. Okay. Right now I am in the main branch. And I think now it should work if I run my command git worktree add worktree 1 feature 1 login. Let's see. Let's hope whether it has created or not. Yes, now it is created. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Basically, we are not in the main branch. We are in the feature 1 login branch. And from there, that branch itself only we are creating a work tree for that particular branch. Okay. So we have now this 2 branch, as you can see in the desktop folder. Not 2 branch, 2 directories, work tree 2 and work tree 1. And inside this work tree 2, we have these 2 and work tree 1, these 2. Basically, these are our, what I would say, a branch inside this work tree. Now, if I want to work on these work trees together, I am able to do this without committing or stashing my changes. So what I can do, I can open all this work tree at once inside my VS Code window. I'll just click on this file. I'll say open folder to workspace, this one. We have these 2 items, right? I'll select command this. Work tree test is already available. So I just want this. I just want this too. I'd say add. Okay. So we say we have now all the work trees available. Work tree 2, work tree 1 and work tree 2. And even though when I click on this readme, we are here. When I click on this login, you can see we are in the feature 1 slash login now. And when I click on work tree 2 inside, we are in the feature 2 slash sign up. That means every working directory has their own branch. Now let's say if I do one change in work tree 1, okay? Here if I now update, I have this change, okay? But I'm not going to commit this change, but I'll switch to the work tree 2 because I'm able to do that. But before that, I want to show you something. ls readme cd ls, we have this branch, and when I go to cd work tree 1, we have this two readme.md and login st. Okay, perfect. So we have login page update now. And if I now go to the work tree 2, which have feature 2 slash sign up branch, so I'm able to do this. If I go back sign up here and I'll say sign up page update, this one. Now I'm inside my feature 2 sign up, even though I have not committed the changes in my feature 1 login branch, but able to do the changes in the feature 2 sign up branch. So if I commit the changes, I'll say git add dot git commit m. I'll say changes done in work tree 2. Simple comment. And I'll say git push origin feature 2 slash sign up. Mistake, I think. Git push origin commit is there. Maybe it should be feature 1 slash login. Yes, feature 1 slash login. So we are able to do the changes. And when I clear this and just show you on the browser, open on GitHub, get open, I can go to the work tree test. Here you can see that we have our branch push, which is a feature 1 slash login. I'll go here. We are able to see the changes, which is 1 minute ago, changes done in work tree 2. So this is what I actually want to show you, that we are able to do the changes from the different work tree at once, even though we have not committed the changes in the different branches. And all those changes you are doing here will automatically get committed to your main branch itself only. That doesn't mean that if you have a multiple work trees, you are going to have a different branch, and also you are not going to push those changes in your work tree. Perfect. You are able to see the changes here as well. That this is from the feature 2 sign up work tree 2 1 and 2. And if you want to delete or see the work list, that how many work tree you have, you can use the commit work tree list, this command. It will list all the work tree you have in your directory. We have 3 work trees right now: work tree slash test, work tree 1, work tree 2. It will shows, and it will also show the branch whatever these work tree actually holds. And if you want to remove any branch, any work tree, you are able to remove that also. Just write here git work tree remove, and here you can mention the name of the work tree. Let's say I want to remove W1. So I'll just say here W1, and when I click enter, it will remove. But I'm not going to remove right now. But when you click enter, it will definitely remove. So just tell me whether work tree concept is clear, how Git actually works in the work tree. What's the use of it? Okay. Now, how Codex actually works with that? This is just the manual work. We have not used the Codex right now here. So if we go back to the app here, how this actually works. Now, what we are actually creating the feature, I want to create a delete functionality on UI, and I don't have that functionality. So what I want to delegate that into a new work tree instead of my current branch, which is right now, I think we are in the master branch, if I'm not wrong. Just close this. Yes, we are on the main branch. So what I want to create a new work tree which will have a different branch, and there I'll create that functionality. And after that, I'll push those changes into merge those changes in my main branch. So to create this in Codex app, it's very simple. You just open this new chat. here. And once you open the new chat, you will see you are inside your link forge. This is your project name and it's running local. So instead of selecting it local, go here and say new work tree. When you click on this new work tree, it will create a new work tree inside your link forge project. So just click on here. It will say new work tree is there. Uh, what branch should this chat start from? I'll say start from the main branch because first work tree copy the code from the main branch. So we'll receive all the latest code there. And here I'll say add or delete functionality on UI also like this. And I'll just say enter. Okay, work tree created. You can see we have a new chat and work tree is there. Changes are there. This one is running on main and this one is the work tree which we have delegated from our main branch and it is now working here. I can create the branch. This is the add UI delete functionality. Yeah, this, or I would say just delete functionality. Okay, that makes sense. UI delete functionality only. This one. This should be the name inside this work tree. As you can see, it says create a branch to commit changes, push and create a PR from this work tree. So I'll say create. And it by default set the prefix with the slash codex. So you can also identify that this work tree is created by codex, not by you. So it's easy for you to understand that whether the agent has created or you have created. So I'll just write here create. And we have created this codex UI delete functionality branch. I'll push the changes, but before that, I need to make sure whether the action is completed or not. Yeah, it has completed. But before push, I want to review the changes. So I'll just not want to push these changes right now. Use, can we see in a different front end or something fancy instead of this character typing, please? Yeah, we can. Just once we push this code, we can. Let me commit and push, include and stage changes. Changes. Okay, these are the changes on the front end. And it will do the changes. Okay, so changes are done. Let's go and see on the browser. This one is not required. This is for the worktree demo only. This is our main repo. Yeah. And yeah, you here can see we have the new branch. If I go to the view all branch, we have this new branch, right? And this branch is actually our worktree, which is just now we have created. And this is the name and it has all the code. So just go to the link forge here again. Maybe I can click. Yeah, I'm in the Codex UI delete and it has all the main branch code. And our delete functionality is also added there. Add delete controls for recent short links. Now this worktree work has done, okay? This worktree is not required anymore. My work is done where I have used this worktree to create a delete functionality. So what I can do now, we have seen the command which is a git worktree remove to remove the worktree when it's work done. So in my case, when this add UI delete work functionality work done, I can just push all those changes into my main branch and will delete this and which will delete my work tree. But before that, I want to show you one thing. If I go to the settings, this profile section and settings, you will see you have this work tree option, right? When I click on this is the place where it will keeps the track of all the work trees that are you created inside your project. I have tried many work trees before also. That's why it shows me all the list. But this is the recent one. I think we are able to see. Yeah, this one. You can see this is a recent one. Add UI delete functionality. We have created inside the link forge project. And it has some what I would say path work tree root where this work tree should be created inside which default path. So by default, if you leave it like this, it will create it inside a codex folder only, which we have seen, a user folder. This one, just a minute. Okay. Uh, documents, not documents. It should be available in here. Codex. Work tree should be there. Yeah, work tree option. You can see this. These are all the work trees it manages there. So this is the by default path, but you can have your own path and make sure that where these all work trees should be created. Okay. You have this feature also delete automatically. So old work trees which is no longer used, you can make sure that how you can delete this, maybe 15, 14 or 10, whatever the number you want to select. So it will get automatically deleted there. So you can manage all those things as well from here. Now let's go back here. We have done this task. We have also merged. Now I'll click on this work tree right here. I'll say local checkout. Means I'll just check out all the work from this branch to the main branch. So I'll say local checkout. Here you can see what it says. Checkout branch, this one is in local workspace and detach it from work tree. What does it actually mean? I am just detaching this work tree because this is of no use, and whatever the code I have done in this branch will automatically get merged into my main branch, which is in my link forge. So I'll just click on handoff, which is means I'm handing off my work to the main branch. So let's click on handoff and it will hand off my work. If I go back here, yeah, we have these changes now. Main and this changes. Okay. Now I can create a pull request because we have this branch not in the work tree, but in the same directory. We have removed this directory and keeps everything inside the single directory. So my UI delete functionality is not a part of different directory, but us one directory only because we have detached that directory. So now I can just create a pull request and whatever the changes I have done in my UI delete functionality, I'll just merge those pull requests. So I'll just say create pull request, create a PR, it will generate message. And whatever the work we have done inside this branch UI delete functionality, it will create a pull request for that branch. This is what we usually work with when we are working with the branch. We do not usually push it directly. We just create a branch, review it for the changes, create a PR request, and then manager or the senior developer approves those and then merge it in the main. Same things we are doing here. So I think it has created, if I'm not wrong. Let me search it here. Pull request. Yes, we have this pull request, add delete controls for recent short links. So by Codex itself, we have created a pull request, which is one open. And now we need to close this. Basically means we need to merge it into the main branch. We already know that things are working here, so we don't want to review and test it. I'll just say merge. So do I have option from here itself? I don't think so. I'll just write it from here. Merge a PR. Only few seconds it will take to merge my PR request. Although we can see the PR request here itself. This option we have seen, right? I think it would show my, yeah, this one. We have created PR request. You can manage all your PR request from this pull request options. This one you can manage. You can click here and you will see how the things actually work here. Summary testing checks, no commits. And when we go back, it says, okay, merged PR has one. It has merged the PR and now we can see the changes. So let's go back here. And now when we go to the code, perfect. It says added delete controls for recent short links. And even though when we go back to the pull request, we can see there's one closed. So everything we have done through the Codex itself, no touch from the human side, whether creating a PR request, whether merging it, review it, we have done all things from the Codex itself. And now we can check the how much token we have consumed using the status command again. So you need to keep an eye how much tokens you are using so you can delegate the task to the different windows if you feel like that. As you can see for this session, we have used 69% left only and we have a 70% left for the weekly limit, which will get reset on 28th July. So keep an eye this status in mid every time. Okay, so we have done this part and we have also tested it. Let me open this on localhost URL again, just to see whether we have a delete functionality or not. And of course, we have this delete functionality. So we are almost reached to the application. Only the thing is that we need to actually make it a database host as well as we need to deploy it on the Vercel. So we'll also do that part. But before that, I need to check whether my functionalities are working or not. So I'll just paste the URL. this one. I'll say shorten link. It has shortened it. It has created the history also. I can delete it as well. Localhost. Okay. And it has deleted my functionality. The things are working here. So is this clear till this point? How we have created a PR request, how we actually merge it from the codex itself. All this is possible because we have connected our GitHub through the codex. Okay. So now let's see the last thing where we need to host our database. And for that, we are not going to create our account and connect our database to other. All things are going to manage with the this here itself from the codex. So I'll go to the plugins. Non plugins. Yeah, you will get this recording, the Telescope app. We'll have a recording sessions there as well. So you can access it later. So install plugins. We have this Neon Postgre, right? So I have this plugin installed. Make sure you have also installed it and authenticate your Neon Postgre from here. And once you install this plugin, just go to your project here. And I hope so it has also deleted my branch because we had detached it. I hope so. Yeah, we all branch. We have only one branch, which is the main branch. So that UI delete functionality branch is also deleted because we have merged their code. All right, perfect. So now let's quickly add a DB here. So I'll just call my plugin, which is add the rate neon. And I'll say shift my in-memory store to a neon serverless Postgre. Basically, Neon, we are using the serverless Postgre instead of a basic Postgre application database. And here I'll say, when you use this, copy, paste the database URL and change it in code. And use it in the code, that makes sense. And use it in code. And I'll say enter. Okay. So it will now make sure first that whether Neon is able to authenticate with database and all. And it will do so. It says that I'm using the Neon Postgre plugin to provision or locate a Neon database, retrieving the connection details and replace the in-memory. It will first make sure whether any project is available or not. And if it's not, it will first create a project inside your Neon Postgre, and then it will do the changes for you. So let's see here. I have this Neon console. I'll just open it. We have this one, which we have created before just for the testing, but soon we are able to see one more project here. Maybe a link forge name. Let's wait for the agent to complete the task. I'm checking the connection Neon account for the existing link forge, and there's serverless documentation before creating any new cloud resource. Okay. A Neon project name link forge has been created. Okay, it has created. Let's check whether it has created or not in the Naman organization. I need to first refresh it. Do I have any refresh option available in in-app feature? I don't think so. Let's do the hard refresh from the browser. Perfect. So as you can guys see here, we have our Linkforge project available inside of a Neon dashboard. And how is this possible? Because our Neon is automatically connected to our codex. We have already authorized it before when we are connecting our plugin. So when you connect your Neon plugin, it will ask you for the authentication. So you just give the access and it will monitor everything from your codex itself. So we have this project now, which is created a few seconds ago. Let's see what it's doing next. Maybe it will create a database URL and then use this in my project. So it might change the file also. I'll open it, those files. Yeah, you can see it has changes the file. env file also added, new one. Yeah, it has used my database URL. Env example is also there. So I'm expecting that it will create my database. Let's see whether it will create or not. And as soon as it will create, I'll just add a Vercel deployment also, which is also pretty simple. And after this, we will just look at the CLI, Codex CLI, because that is also important. As someone said, that running everything from the user interface makes sense, but we also know how we can use it in the CLI. So if time permits, we'll definitely see in the CLI option, because there are multiple things available in Codex CLI. Okay. So let's wait for the file to get completed. 7 files changed so far. We're able to see the review. Okay, running npm start. Almost completed, I think so. It's just running the npm start command to start the server and all, I think so. These are the changes. Okay, persistence is confirmed. The same shortened record remains available after stopping and restarting the API, and the existing front end. Sorry, and okay, perfect. It has created the project, created the URL records, added serverless Postgre dependency, converted this route to the Postgre queries, stored the pooled connections, edit, save, all those things. Okay, it has done all the things. Let's test it out quickly, our project, this one. So if I, first let me show you whether what the thing is available here. Neon, we have this. Let me open this. And if I go to the tables, we are inside our Linkforge project. So I hope it will create the table for me. Yeah, we have the table, which is the URL record. And that is what it says in the summary, if you can read here. It says create the URL record table and recent link index. That's why we are able to see the URL record table. And it has data also available for the original text. But let me try something else. Suppose if I paste a new URL, XLE draw, maybe this one. This is already short. Git install. Already short, but let's try this one. Instead of this, I'll paste shorten forging. Okay, done. We got this URL. Let's see whether we are able to see this data in our Neon database also. If I refresh, yeah, we are able to refresh. Yes, as you can see, we have our data in our table, which is right now we have created just now. Okay, so the things are working perfect. We had this original URL, this one, and it has a timestamp also, visit 0. It also shows that how many visits we have done, and this is the shortcode we have created. Now, without wasting time, let's quickly deploy this, and I'll serve this URL to you also, so you also test it and see whether things work for you or not. So I'll just say @Vercel plugin, which is also I've installed. I'll say @Vercel. You can see in the plugins, we have this Vercel as well, right? So install this plugin and authorize your Vercel through your Codex. So it will able to create a project as well as deploy a project from the Codex. So where we are here, Vercel plugin is already installed. I want to say deploy this project. Just the simple prompt. It will automatically understand what I actually mean. I'll just say enter. Okay, meanwhile, open our Vercel also. So see the changes in the real time. Database is already hosted. It's time for the deployment. This is my link web, which I have tried before. Okay, it's creating. Let's wait for the result. It says I'm using the Vercel deployment workflow to adapt this React Express repository for Vercel. Connects the Neon environment variable security, deploy it, and verify the public front-end API flow. Searching the Vercel docs. Planning Vercel build and routing. By the way, at the time it is doing so, let's discuss some of the feature which you might use in your day-to-day life when you are doing coding. If you know we have one feature, I don't want to use it inside a LinkForge project. I'll go with the new task only. If you have some idea and a rough idea, which you actually want to create in a structured manner, you can use a plan mode in Codex app. Just write a slash plan, this one, plan mode. And here you just describe your ideas, whatever you have in your mind, and it will generate it into a proper structure manner, which you can use it as a prompt, or maybe you can use it in your documents wherever you want to use. So for example, I want to, let's say, create a what I would say, I want to create a clothing website and I have no idea what are the features and functionality available in that clothing website. So I'll just write here, I want to create a clothing website, but I'm not sure what are all the features should be available there. Features I should have. This I have done. This is my basic plan or the idea. So I'll just enter. You can see how beautifully it has structured my idea into a particular plan, and it will clear all the things for me. But it will also ask me something in between if it requires, but I don't think so. Yeah, it will ask. It says, what kind of clothing websites are you planning? So it asks some recommendation from me, single brand, multi-brand, marketplace, or no, tell ChatGPT something by yourself. I'll go with the recommendation. I'll say single brand. How ambitious should be the first release be? Lean store, go with the recommended one. What will be your primary sell at launch? Okay, now my ideas are getting clear based on the question it asks. So I won't go with the India. Okay, so these are the things it want to ask me, and now it will create a proper structured plan for me. Okay, again, one more question. Who is the primary customer for the first collection? I'll say unisex adults. How will products and orders be managed? Manual operations. Let's go with the recommended option, Shopify store. Okay, it has asked 3 questions. I have answered all of them. Again, 3. Answer that as well. Meanwhile, let's look whether this work has done or not. Okay, almost last thing is done. I left. The Vercel project is linked to the GitHub repository. Vercel build authenticated. Okay, let it complete. Meanwhile, we'll see about this one. Online COD. Modern minimal. Okay. It will ask many questions with you between just to clarify how you actually want it. And after the multiple questions, it has now created a particular structured plan for you. I'll just open it. Okay, it's still generating. Let it generate. Yes, implement this plan. No, skip. I would skip. I just want to implement. I just want the plan. So you can see this is what the entire planet has created based on just a simple prompt where I just describe a rough idea that I want to create a clothing website. It says create a modern minimal core experience, commerce and operations, design and content, test plan, assumptions and later addition. And if I select that implement this plan, it will also create a website for me based on the plan it has generated. But I just skip that step because we don't want right now. But also you get an idea how you can use the plan mode to structure your plan into a structure your rough idea into a beautiful plan. Okay, now let's see how much it has completed our Vercel deployment. Running Vercel deploy prod. The deployment built successfully, but live verification found a routing detect. Planning API catch fault routing with express pattern. Routing now reaches. How many files it has changed, by the way? Only 5 files has changed with a 51 line code. Okay, it has created, I think, Vercel file also. Yeah, Vercel.json for the Vercel deployment. Okay, use Vercel integration, ran a command. Let's look at the dashboard also in the Vercel, whether we have seen something here or not. If I go to the deployment, add delete. Okay, this is what from LinkForge. Okay, so it has actually deployed the project. Okay, LinkForge OSI Vercel. Oh, it has all deployed. but something it is running in behind background using versal integration runtime log. Meanwhile, let's open this URL domain. Okay, if you open it, let's see what are the things available. Okay, it's working or not. Let's test it out. If I copy this URL and paste it, shorten, we could not shorten that link. Okay, because maybe there is some work is going behind. And deploy result. Okay, this is now the final one. Now I think this should work if you open it and paste this one. No, not this one, something big. Maybe this one. Shorten. Perfect. It has shortened it. I'll just copy it and I want to open it in the external browser. Paste. And we are able to access it. So, all right, we have completed our entire project just by using Codex app. I hope you understand how the things actually work. Now just tell me, would you like to explore this project on your itself? Should I share this URL to you? Would you like to see how the functionalities actually work? Okay, so let me share it with you. Just make sure do not add any those type of links which then I would delete immediately from here. Okay, because all the links that you will say, you are able to see it here and whoever using this link. So be careful at the time you are using or pasting the link there. So just send it here. You just tell me whether you are able to access and use the functionality or not. Although I will able to see all the your recently shortened URL if you don't delete from your side. Just use it. I'll refresh the page and I'll see whether I'm able to see your URL or not here. Refresh. Right now only two. These are mine. I'll delete mine first. Just to see. Okay. Delete this one as well. Now let's wait for from your side. Okay, one I have seen. A normal google.com. Let's open this. Okay, this is just a normal Google. I don't know who have pasted it, but we got this. Let's refresh whether we have another URL also. No, only one of them. Perfect. That means things are working. We can see it in our database also. If I refresh my database, yes, we have this google.com, every URL here as well. Okay, perfect. This one, okay. Let's try this one now. Shorten. This is not the valid one. I should use HTTPS, I think. And now shorten. Okay, it has shortened. Copy it. Let's open it on the browser. And perfect. Okay, so someone has pasted their portfolio. Gaurav Sharma, okay. Looks good. Perfect. The things are working here. And I'm glad that we have done everything from the codex itself. Not just do the wipe code it, but actually we have monitored the things, create a PR request, merge it, commit the code. You work with the work tree as well. So everything works there. That's good. Now, would you want to see the Codex CLI also, how Codex CLI actually works? If time permits or you are really interested and not tired. We have explored a lot with the Codex web and everything with the interfaces. Okay, so quickly see the CLI, how we can use the Codex inside our terminal. By the way, have you enjoyed this Codex app? How you actually use it? Are you able to use it through your own? Only two, three things are important for you. First thing is that how to create a skills, how to create a agents.md file, how you can create a sub agents manually as well as through by the prompt itself. Same goes with the skill. How you can add a multiple plugins like Neon database, Vercel, or any plugin wherever you want to connect your Codex through the external tools, and how you can set the permissions. All those things are major important. That is what you are going to use in day-to-day life. GitHub is also important, of course. So let's see quickly how we can use the GitHub CLI. Yes, Cloud works same way. As I told you before, under the hood, everything works in the same way. In Cloud also, we have a skills options, work tree, and in Cloud only one file is get changed. For Codex, we have agents.md file to explain how this project should actually work, to give the instruction. But in the Cloud code, we have cloud.md. So only name gets changed, but the meaning will remain same and the purpose also remain the same. Okay, so once you understand the Codex workflow, it's very easy for you to understand and work with the Cloud code also. So yeah, let's go to the Codex CLI. Already we have 11 p.m. So I am pretty sure you are a bit tired and you need a break, but understanding it is also very important. So what is Codex CLI? Very simple. If you want to use Codex inside your terminal, just using with the command, you can go with the Codex CLI. To use it, just go to the Codex CLI. Okay, just enter this one. I'll say this one. These are the options: macOS, Windows, NPM, Homebrew. Go with any one of them. If you click on NPM, here it will go. If you click on Homebrew, here it will go. But make sure if you're using the NPM, then only one thing is required: Node.js on your system. So make sure you have already installed the Node.js, and you can verify whether Node.js is or not. If you are not remember whether I have installed it before or not. So just write here a simple command on your terminal, which is node hyphen hyphen version. And if you are able to see this version on your system, that means node is available. You just use the npm command. But what I would say, instead of installing the OpenX Codex CLI from here, you can install it from the changelog. Yes, changelog. I would say first show you what the changelog actually is. Changelog Codex. I'll say like this. Codex changelog. This one. Basically, in Codex changelog, you get all the up-to-date information about whatever they have released, right? So as you can see here, OpenAI in July 2026, just yesterday only, it has released the Codex CLI latest version, which is 0.145.0. So remember, if I install it directly from there, will I able to use this version? Of course not. Although it will prompt me later in the chat that please update to the latest version. But for the first time, I need the latest version. So I get it from the changelog. So make sure you use the changelog version only to get the latest update. So just copy this command, open the terminal here and paste it. And once you paste, it will install the codex for you. I'm not going to paste. It is already available for me. I'll just show you whether it is available or not. I'll just say codex hyphen hyphen version. It says I'm using the codex CLI 0.14.0 because I have updated it today itself. So that's why I'm in the latest version. Now, once you install this, how to use it inside your terminal? Very simple. First, open your project directory wherever you want to use. Just like we have used in the Codex app, I have created a link forge, and then inside that I have used the Codex app. Same like that, if you want to use, just go to the particular directory. Let's say I want to use in the link forge only, okay? So I'll first say ls. I'll say go inside my desktop because there only that it is live. I'll say ls. We have work tree 1, work tree 2, work tree test. Okay, link forge is not available here. Okay, so where it is available? I'm not sure. Let's open the work tree test. Maybe it is available in the document. By default, it's created in the document path. So open the work tree one. Okay, so I'm now inside the work tree. I'll just use a PWD also to verify whether I'm in the work tree test or not. Now I can use the codex here. Very simple. Whenever you want to use the codex inside the terminal, just use the command which is codex and click enter. It says, do you trust this content of this directory? Of course, I'll trust. I'll go with yes, continue. And this is how Codex will run inside your terminal. Now, just one thing, if you use Codex for the first time, this UI will not get. Instead, it will redirect you for the login page. because that's the first thing it needs to authenticate with your ChatGPT account. So you will get three options here. Maybe you will get ChatGPT login, desktop login with another device, or and then with the API ways. So you can select any one of them, and based on that you can log in. And once you log in, then you are able to see this terminal UI for the Codex, where it will give you the some sort of informations like what model you are using, what is the directory it is running. As in our case, it is running inside the desktop worktree test, and you have three usage limit resets. That's fine. Now, let's quickly see some of the things in Codex CLI, which is not we are able to do through Codex app. Now, if I want to use the slash commands, because we are in the Codex CLI, so only commands will get work here. So if I want to use, I can use slash here, and you can see as soon as write, it lists me all the commands that we can use inside the Codex CLI. Model, fast, ID, permission, key map, vim, experimental, approve, and a lot more are available there. So I'll show you some of them which are useful instead of exploring all of them. So first one, right now you can see it is using the GPT 5.6 Sol, which is the latest model. But if I want to switch the model, I can use a command which is slash model. And when I click enter, I'll get all the options. I'll select any one of them by using the up and down arrow key. I'll want to go with, let's say, GPT 5.4. And now you can select the reasoning effort, low, medium, high, extra high. I'll go with the medium, high. No, low makes sense. Low. And you can see model change. Now it is using GPT 5.4 low. So in this way, you can change the model. This is the one command. Another one which we have already seen, which is a slash init. If I type here slash init, it will create an agents file for me. I'm not going to create it because we have seen in the Codex app also. It will do the same thing here as well. Next thing is the status. We just write here status. It will show current status configuration, session ID, weekly limit, workspace and all, desktop. You will get the information of the current session directory. Another useful command is it just okay, I just run the clear here. Okay, it's clear. Okay. I'll just show you some of the useful command, which is you will definitely use. First one is that if you want to exit from this Codex terminal, let me first increase the terminal. If you want to exit from this terminal UI of the Codex, you can just write the command, which is slash exit. When you write slash exit, this is the command you will use most of the time whenever you want to exit from the Codex CLI. Just click enter. You will come outside of this Codex UI. You can see right now I'm not inside the Codex. Codex is not there. And if I want to again use the Codex, I'll just write the Codex command again and able to again enter to the terminal UI. Okay. So we have seen this one. What else command we can explore? Fast ID. This is one if you want to switch to the ID mode. Permission. Yeah, we have seen this permission. Approve for me, full access or ask for approval. We can select this one as well. Because right now we are not in the interface, so everything will work through slash command itself only. So if I don't want to use this and I want to come out from this particular thing, I can use the escape instead of exit. Exit will basically make you out from this complete terminal UI. But if you want to exit from this current thing which you are running, because let's say I don't want to select any one of them, I just click on escape. So I'll just come from that particular command. Still, I'm inside my Codex CLI. So approve ID skill is also there, which we have seen. Skills import, if you want to import setup, which we have seen. I hope I remember someone asked me that how you can use a Claude inside the ChatGPT Codex. You can use it here. You can see we have a slash import slash command which you can import all the setups that you have made in your Claude code. Hooks is also available there. You can view and manage the lifecycle hooks. Review the changes you can review before committing. Rename, new, all the things are available there. Okay. And one more important, just want to show you. Let's say if you want to resume any task, you are running this Codex task, which you want to resume. You just write here command, which is Codex resume. And when you click enter, it will resume from the same task. I'll pick up the existing workspace state, check what was left in progress and continue from there. It will list all the session ID and you can just pick all from there. Right now, I don't have any session ID. That's why it doesn't say. It only lists me this. But as soon as you have, you can resume the task later. Maybe you will open the Codex CLI tomorrow. You will continue from the same chat using the Codex resume. Okay. Now, after this, I want to show you how you can run this in headless mode. Do you know about the headless mode? What does it actually mean? What does the headless mode actually mean? Or I can say the non-interactive mode. How many of you heard about this before or maybe used it? Asynchronous, maybe I would say. Okay, let me tell you. Headless mode basically means where your involvement is not required. Everything runs in the form of a script. Now, if I just give you the example which runs in the headless mode, we talk about the CI pipeline. Now, how the CI pipeline actually works, CI/CD pipeline, if you know, continuous integration and the continuous deployment, where everything works in the command line interface. You just push your code and everything will run in the headless mode. There's a no interface, there's a no UI. It just run the script, it will execute it by itself and make it possible. You will not going to involve in between. And also we are using the shell script command also. So all these are the headless mode. So if you want to use agent, which is a Codex agent inside these type of headless mode, you can use one of the best command in the Codex CLI, which is Codex exec. And you will not get this command in the Codex app, web, or in the cloud, or maybe in the ID extension as well, because they are all the GUI, graphical user interface. And CI and CI pipeline as well as shell script only works with the commands. So you can use that command by just typing codex and then exec. This is exec. Or you can use the alias also. Instead of, if you don't want to type the exec, you can just write a e. It will understand that you are talking about the headless mode. So just write codex exec. And here you will say any task. Let's say I want to say run the changes and find any issues or review issues and review issues. So this type of command I can execute, which will execute the task and run and return me without my approval. Okay. So if you want to run it in the headless mode inside your CI pipeline, you want to inject the agent workflow, you can inject it using the codex exec command. When I run enter, it will run, it will look at my current directory and it will work based on that. I just want to give you the short example also how we actually use it. I have one example which I have already written, how we actually use in the VS Code. So just a minute. Okay, we have this file. So I'll create one file here. Okay, we ran with one issues. Proceed. It's require my attention. Okay. So headlines, headless. We can say GUI or any other name. No. We have something name. I just remember it for the headless. Okay, let me search it on the Google. I know the word, but not able to recall it right now. Let me ask what we say or what is the opposite word for headless in programming. Uh, headed, headless, headed, head UI. I don't know why, but still I'm not agree with the word which is mentioned, headed browsers. You can call it as headed browser, but there is some specific word which basically use when you want to describe opposite of headless. But you can also mention it in the simple word also that you can run it in the interactive mode or in the UI mode, which also makes the people understand what you actually want to say. Proceed. Skill.md, Versal agent, running Python. Okay, it will take some time. I think so. I can just exit this command because I want to work with another task. So I'll just run the escape. Okay, it has done work for 2 minutes. Whether it found the issues or not, I don't know, but it has run our command. So I want to just show you that how you can use it in Codex exec command in your CI pipeline and in the shell script. So for that, this one, we have this work tree. Maybe I can just paste it here just for the demo. This is basically a GitHub Action CI/CD pipeline. I'm using a here GitHub Action. We can use the Jenkins and other thing also. But in this, you can see everything runs in the command line interface. And if you notice here, I have just used codex exec command, which is says review the changes in this PR for bugs, missing tests, and conventions, violations per agents.md summarize findings. Now this will run automatically as an agent inside my CI pipeline as soon as it will get triggered based on pull request. So when a new pull request arrives, my CI pipeline will get triggered. It will run my codex exec, basically a agent, which will review the changes by itself and produce output and will done the things by itself. No human involvement required. There's only one thing you need to make sure that you have configured your OpenAI key there so that it can authenticate that your account. And it's very simple. Just create the env command here, which is just a GitHub Action job. And you just define OpenAI API key, and here you can define it. Do not expose it directly inside your CI pipeline. Just create it as a secret and mention it inside your GitHub account. I'll just show you where you mention this secret key so that you can able to see. If I just open my GitHub repo, is there available? Yeah, this one. In settings, let's in this GitHub repo link forge. If I want to use my secret CNV variable, you can go to the settings, then secret and variables, actions, and here you can create manage or you can environments. So I want to manage new environment, name, I can configure it. Not this one, I think so. Variables, new repository variables. Yeah, here. Here you just define the name and the value, whatever you want to define. So when your CI pipeline gets triggered, it will read all those CNV variable values from this secret action keys and will then able to get the things from here. So in this way, it will remain secure because at the end you will create the repo private, so it will not available for other people as well. Never expose OpenAI key directly in your CI pipeline. So here were we. So this is how you can use a codex exec command in the CLI version to automate your task in the headless mode. Now, if you go to the terminal, here right now in the Codex CLI, and if you want to use a shell commands are basically those type of command which are the system commands, not a part of Codex. For example, we have seen ls command, pwd command, cd command. These are the shell commands. So if you want to use those commands inside your Codex CLI itself, you can use it by using an exclamation mark. So as soon as I type exclamation mark, you can see it says shell mode. I hope you are able to see this in the bottom right corner, shell mode. Now here I can use any command. Let's say if I run here ls, you run ls, and it says it is only contain the file which is readme.md. So this is a shell command, not a part of Codex CLI command. And I can run it inside my Codex CLI as well because we are able to use this. Yeah, those type of commands which you actually run to list the directories or for current directory and the pwd, and other shell commands are also available. So you can run all those commands inside your Codex CLI. Just mention the exclamation mark before using those commands. Okay. So what else we can see here? We can also see how we can create a sub agent using in Codex CLI also. We have seen in the in our Codex app. So this is very simple. Just give the prompt here. I'll just give a very rough prompt. Let's say create two sub-agent, one for, let's say, one for what I can say here. What task I can delegate? One for, let's say, create a calculator. Just want to tell, although I will interrupt it in between because I'll not wait for it to complete. I'll just go with the prompt. One for create a calculator, and another one for, let's say one more thing, create a BMI calculator, just a different one. I'm just running out of task ideas, so I just write this one, calculator. Now, when I click enter, I'll split this into two independent static pages so the agents can work without overlapping files. Started, both sub-agents are now building their pages independently. I'll verify the combined workspace, and once they finish, waiting for agents, root calculator, root BMI calculator. No agents completed yet. Okay, it is checking the task. Although you can see the things that which agents has worked which much, how much. We can just use the slash agents command, which through which you can switch to the active agent thread. Okay, just like we have seen in the Codex app, we can use it here as well. When I say agent, so these are the commands or agents which are currently running, root calculator and the root BMI calculator. So if I want to see the task of my root calculator, how it actually executing it, so I'll just click here, and now we are inside our this root calculator. It is implementing this and all. Again, I can switch between them. I just use the agent. I want to switch to the now BMI calculator. I can switch it to that as well. Conversation interrupted, it says. Okay, but we are able to switch between them. Although I want to interrupt the entire conversation because I don't want to create one, I'll say escape. Escape again to edit previous message. Escape. Okay, I'll just say exit. Okay, I don't want to exit. Clear. So this is what you can use in the Codex CLI. Many more features are also available, but they are quite similar to the Codex app as well. Right, if I want to tell you about the config.toml file. Right now, if you notice, whenever we start the Codex CLI, let me show you. If I exit and clear, and now if I say Codex again, you can see as soon as I start, which model it is running on by default. It is running on GPT 5.6 Terra with the reasoning medium, right? So this is the model it is running by default. Although we can change it using the slash model command, but I want that every time by default model should be something different, not this one. So I can do this configuration setting change in my config.toml file. This is the root file for every codex file where you can define all the configurations. Although not only for the configuration related to the default model, you can also change the policies of the sandbox. As you know, by default sandbox runs on the permission which ask approval. That means every time if you run a new chat, it will be in the ask approval mode. But if you want that by default it should be in the full access mode, you can change those settings in a configuration.toml file. So I'll just show you the quick overview how it actually looks like. So here folder, and it is available inside of a user folder, Codex. And here we basically get a config.toml file. Okay, it is not available right now. Yeah, by default it is not available, but we can create one. I want to show that config.toml file in the Codex app also, so that you get a somewhat clear picture. If I open this settings, first let me verify it is visible or not. Yeah, it's visible. And settings, you can see we have a configuration file, right? This is what we are saying about, talking about. Approve policy, it is by default on request. I can change it to never untrusted or something, so it will automatically runs on based on that on by default mode. I'll select the sandbox setting also. It is read only. Read only basically means ask approval. So if it is running something outside of your environment, it will only read that thing but cannot edit them. For taking an action to edit them, it first needs an approval from your side. But you can change that, give it a full access or the workspace side based on your requirement. So these are the by default settings that you can set for your configuration. And one more thing, these configuration settings are shared across all the platforms. So no matter whether you are using it on Codex app, Codex CLI, web, cloud, or ID extension, your entire configuration will get shared between them. I'll show you that. For example, if I create a Codex CLI file, but before to create that, I need to go inside that .codex file to create that file. So I'll first get exit from my Codex. I need to verify where I'm right now. I need to go one step ahead, back. Again, this one more step back. ls, here we are. Now I know that it is available inside my root folder. So I am in the root folder right now. Yes, I'm in the root folder. And okay, so if I list all these files, we have this. If I want to access my codex file, how can I access? Because that's a file which is available as a hidden file. If I write here cd dot codex, something like this, yeah, we are able to access codex. ls, yeah, we are now inside our hidden dot codex file. Here we are create our config.toml file, which is a global file. Okay, we have one config.toml. As you can see here, we have one. Okay, at that time I'm not able to see, but we have one, and I want to show you what this thing contains. So let me go back here. Let me explore it quickly and wisely. Last time we missed it. Okay, this is the config.toml file. Let's open this. Okay, so you can see this is how it actually looks like. It has some model reasoning effort by default, which is 5.6 tera and medium. And project, these are the trusted projects. Everything runs here. Now you can change it to something else. I want that. Okay, but before that, let me show in the app first. Here in new chat, you can see it's run 5.6 tera medium. Okay, but now when I change it in my config file, it will also get changed in my in my codex app also, because configuration files are shared across platform. So if I change here, and if I change to 5.4 slash mini, and I'll say go with the low and then save. And now go back my ChatGPT app. And here, if I click on new, maybe I'll go back here first. And now if I click on new chat, it is still running on 5.6 medium. It should change. Maybe it will work in CLI. Let's look at here. If I run Codex, let's see which model it is running right now. Do you trust the content? Yes, continue. No, use existing model. Yes, we can see this, what model it is using right now. GPT 5.4 mini and with the reasoning effect low. So by default, it is using the low model because we have defined in our config.toml file. All that will should work in the Codex app as well. I don't know why it's not changed. Maybe new chat. Maybe I want to restart it. Solve. Here, this one, new chat. Okay, we are inside the link forge. Maybe that's why. Yeah, we are in the inside our link forge folder. That's why it is selecting that particular model, because we have used that model inside our link forge. But now as I remove the folder, and now I'm in the plain text only task. And here you can see it says 5.4 mini light. This is the by default model. And why it's possible? Because in our config.toml file, we have set it. Is this clear? What does the config.toml file do? How we can actually make it so the things will work by default for us? You can set all the configurations there. Is it clear? Okay, perfect. Now, if you have one doubt that what if I want to use a specific configuration in a specific project? Right now, we have used a config file inside our root folder, .codex, that's a hidden file. So every project will work on the same configuration file. But if I want to use a different config file, first thing is that we cannot create a separate one. It's not possible. If you create a separate one, basically Codex not allow this. Before it allow, but they recently changed this settings and updates because they feel like that it actually creates a security patches issues as well. Because if you run config.toml file inside a project, maybe there will be this different configuration you will set for that project, which can execute a commands which are malicious and which is
not something you need to actually execute it. Or maybe not you, if you have update that code in the GitHub and later on your team member or someone else capture that repo and run some command which is not useful, it's not going to be possible because they can change the config.toml file. So instead of that, they create only one global file, and there only you can define whether that project can use that config.toml file or not. So if you can notice here, there are the multiple paths available: projects, user, Naman Paharia, documents, codex, and date, as well as the project. And I'll say trust level trusted. Now this line is very important. This basically decide whether uh, this config file should be used by this particular project or not. If I just not use this line trusted, or I'll say it is as untrusted, then I'll not able to use my Codex config file inside my project. So if I just use the GPT 5.4 mini, but if I'm using any project which is not a part of this my config file, that default model will not run there, right? Because it will not get access to this config.toml file. So you can define all those things there. Okay. Although you can use the Codex ID extension, just give you the short overview, not going to discuss much about it because everything remains same there as well. So I'll show you how to use the Codex in your ID as an extension. Just go to your extension here, right? Just search the Codex, this one. Let me search it for you. Codex. And once you search, this is the extension, just install it. And as soon as you install, you will get this option in your ID IDE. Just open this and you are able to use Codex just beside your IDE as an extension. I'll just remove this for now. Now this is my Codex. I can just delegate the task to it. I can make sure these are all the chats I'm able to use here because I'm using the same ChatGPT account. So all those chats are synchronized in all the platforms. I can see all my chats there. Whatever the files are open, I can just say, look at the file this or look at in this folder. I can also use the commands. I can add the plugins. All the things which we have done in the Codex app, same remains in the Codex ID itself. Just the platform gets changed. And based on your suitability, you can choose any one of the platform. Only the Codex CLI is quite different because their things run not in the GUI, but in the command line phase. So that's why it takes some time to explain Codex CLI, but rest of the things remain same. So that's all about Codex CLI. I hope you enjoy it and you definitely get to learn more about this. Try it by yourself in your project and use it on day-to-day basis. You'll actually get to know how things actually work there. If you have any doubt, we can consult your doubt for 5 minutes, then we'll wrap up this session. Any doubt related to Codex? If you have. Okay, perfect. Glad you all liked it and you have used it. Try to use it on your system and see whether how it works for you. Okay, so now it's time to any limitation Codex versus extension VS Code. Limitation Codex versus extension in VS Code. Not that much. In Codex, you will get more features, like as I show you before, that you can switch to multiple things as they are. You can create the work tree and all. You will not get that work tree feature in the extension here. For extension, if you are using in the VS Code, you need to use the git commands to create the work tree. But as I show you in the app also, here we get this option, right? In the work tree option here. If I open this project, we get this option here, work tree, this option. Continue in new chat, we can create a work tree. But in ID extension, this option is not available. You have to manually type the commands, which is git work tree and all. So this is a one limitation. Second one, I would say, I think it will not open in-app browser. I'm not sure with this, but I think so because you are running it as an extension only in your ID. Maybe it can open. But this is the major limitation where work tree is not available. And this is, I think, most thing. Rest are all things available there. Just the basic thing is that you will get more options just in the sidebar, all these things. In ID extension, you have to manually call the plugins and all and manage all the things. You will manage the pull request also as well from here itself. So these are the basic things, not much. Okay, if you don't want to switch to the VS Code, you can definitely use. That's why they create the multiple platforms. You can work based on which one suits for you. Everyone will work perfect there. Okay, there's not something we will get regret if you will not use the Codex app. Okay. So perfect. Let's wrap this session. It's a wonderful session. I enjoyed, and I hope you all enjoyed too. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Bye. Good night. Thank you. Good night.